What's up, everyone? We are live for another episode of Who Are They? Spin from the Real. Once again, I am Matt, and joining me, as always, is the personality himself, Chris Anthony Lopez.
Ooh, what is going on, dude? I'm standing again. I'm standing. I'm back. I'm back at it. I'm not sitting down. I'm jazzed.
You had to do that for Boggs, didn't you?
This is also. I'll get to that in a second. But no. Plus, I'm genuinely stoked for this show today. We have a lot going on. We got some awards to talk about. We got some fun people to talk about. One of them we're about to bring on in a second. But before we do actually talk about Schmoedown, one of our friend of the show, friend of the channel, shout out to Boggs from the Ultimate Schmoedown show. My man's been telling me to watch Cobra Kai since we met.
Pause. I was telling you before, Boggs. Don't even just give this credit to Boggs.
No, and I am going to give the credit just to Boggs. Look, so what I'm talking about, right, is when we had Colin and Boggs on from the Ultimate Schmoedown show on this show, Boggs told me then to watch it. And my man's been like, he'll go at me. Like, he's threatened to stop talking to me, excommunicate me. Because, Matt, you have no choice but to talk to me. But Boggs has a choice. So Boggs has been telling me for months and months and months, and he wants the flag back. He wanted the flag back in the shot. So I had to do it for him. So Boggs and Matt, by extension, I would like to extend my apologies for being late to the Cobra Kai show. Like, I started watching it this morning.
For doubting the truth?
Because I had to rewatch. I rewatched Karate Kid. Y'all told me not to, and I did.
No, we told you didn't have to, but it would help.
I rewatched Karate Kid because I felt like I had to. And if y'all aren't watching Cobra Kai, this show rules. Cobra Kai never dies.
What season are you on?
The first one still.
Okay, then as your friend, I'm gonna tell you this: after you finish season 1, you're gonna hit pause and rewatch Karate Kids 2 and 3.
I gotta watch the third one too.
Yeah, I know.
That one's not good, bro. No. The second one, I actually really like the second one. But no, seriously, Cobra Kai is dope. Shout out to Boggs from the Ultimate Schmoedown show. I'm finally watching Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai never dies. Yeah, love it. We got some Schmoedown to talk, baby.
Yeah, so today is gonna be our award show episode. But before we get into part of that, because this is going to be a weird episode for us, because we have 3 guests on today. First of whom we're going to bring on in just a moment. So we got 3 guests today. We have Zack Burkett, who is one of the rumored and famed Dragon Con players, so we're going to bring him on in a minute. We also have Thomas Harper later on, and then Jesse Swift. So we got 3 guests today, so we're going to go guest, talk about a little bit of the awards, guest, talk about the awards, and then depending on how that all ends up, we're in for a long one. Okay. We already said this is a long, extended episode, and we're excited about it, ready to get things going. So without further ado, let's bring on Zack Burkett. How you doing today, sir?
Zack,
what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
No doubt about it, dude. Oh my God. Well, welcome to the show. Welcome to Spin from the Real.
Thank you.
And for those who don't know who you are, by all means, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so by the way, I don't know who Boggs is, but Cobra Kai is freaking awesome.
Yes.
And, welcome to the party, dude. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy.
Damn right.
I'm a Miyagi-Do guy myself, so I don't know about that.
Definitely watch Karate Kids 2 and 3. He was right. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm Zack Burkett. I am a new rookie in the Schmoedown 2021 season, hoping to get drafted. We'll see what happens. I'm a Star Wars guy.
Clearly.
One of the Dragon Con crew. I guess there's been some buzz about us apparently. Hopefully we live up to the hype. And I just want to kind of issue a heads up for anyone for the audience. I stutter. Me kind of like stepping into this kind of world in the spotlight is definitely a step outside of my comfort zone. But I'm ready. I'm pumped. Let's do it. I just want to kind of let you guys know. So because you will hear it, and I don't know if anyone else in the league stutters or not. So it's maybe kind of a new thing for some people, but I live with it every day, so y'all can live with it too.
It happens from time to time, but it's like, here's the thing. The thing I'll say about the Schmoedown is, for the most part, a lot of its fan base is accepting and loving, and they just want to see good matches and a good time, and I have no doubt that you'll be able to bring that to the table.
I don't doubt it either.
Yeah, don't worry about like Matt and I. We like it's not. Don't even worry about it. You know what? We're here to make it easy on you, really.
Yeah,
so,
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
But I mean, no doubt about it. But just to start, Zach, I mean, I wonder what division you could possibly be going into, just based on looking at it.
I think Star Trek is what I'm angling for.
See, them Star Trek exhibition matches, bro. Like that.
Love me some Star Trek, man. Captain Kirk, let's go. It's like, you will never see me do that ever again. I don't mess with Star Trek.
Dang, that hurt your hand, didn't it?
Oh, sorry. Let me amend that. For Inner Geekdom, I gladly will study and embrace the Trek life if I must.
Word.
I'll make an exception. But generally not.
Future questions already.
I'm sorry?
You already answered a question I had for you, which is, so besides Star Wars, would you consider Inner Geekdom? I guess we should just ask that.
Totally would. 100%.
No, and I mean, we've been saying on the show for months now that Inner Geekdom and Star Wars, they go hand in hand. Just Star Wars, you specify the one category and you just go deeper and deeper and deeper until you start asking like the most ridiculous of questions, which you're no stranger to. Because like you said, you were at Dragon Con. Yeah. So, I mean, as someone who has been so ignorant to Dragon Con, and I don't know what it consists of. It's obviously a convention. Is it about dragons? Like, I know there's Star Wars stuff there, but I don't know. So can you please enlighten people like me who are just like ignorant to the world that is Dragon Con?
Yeah, man. Dragon Con, it's every year over Labor Day weekend, and it's like a 4-day long just nerd fest, and it is a massive convention in Atlanta, Georgia. So it's kind of like our like East Coast version of Comic Con. Like it's like that big, and I think in past years we've had like 80,000 attendees, and like we completely just take over downtown Atlanta, just like swarms on the streets and the hotels and the bars, just like people, cosplayers, nerds everywhere. It's just wild over the whole weekend. It's just like we cause traffic jams, and it's like a party convention. So that means we're drinking, we're partying, we're playing music, we're having fun. It's a blast. Yeah. It's Dragon Con knows how to have fun, and we kind of let loose, and stuff. But our trivia though, so every year we have a Star Wars trivia contest, and it is intense. I would say it's so the questions are tougher than Schmoedown than Schmoedown questions easily. They take into account the entire Star Wars canon, so comics, novels, video games, animated series, all of it counts. And so and they're like way more like specific, minute details, and it's like, and it is cutthroat, it is hardcore, and like every year it's always like roughly the like same like 10 people make it to the finals, and I've been one of them ever since I started attending Dragon Con, and I met a lot of my Star Wars friends, all of my trivia friends, actually through Dragon Con. Does that answer the question?
No, 1,000%. Like, I mean, you told us before the show that you're buddies with Alex Damon, the current Star Wars champion of the movie trivia.
He's a good friend of mine in real life.
And,
yeah, we're cool.
And you said that you have been, you've been amongst some of the best, and sometimes you bested to us, who we thought was the best at Star Wars trivia, at least once or twice, maybe in some cases more so than others. But is that? I mean, how is it? I'm assuming you've seen Schmoedown competition, especially over the last year.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Besides the actual like Star Wars canon, what they touch on, what differences do you see between the Schmoedown and Dragon Con, just from what you've seen in Schmoedown gameplay?
So I would say the main difference is kind of the breadth that they cover. But aside from that, so I mean, the Schmoedown is a lot more kind of spectacle and performative aspect to it with trash talking, the personalities and whatnot. DragonCon is strictly show up, show how much you know, and if you get like one question wrong, pretty much like you're out. And so the format and the rules are different. Schmoedown's like point system is a little more forgiving and more lenient than DragonCon. With DragonCon,
Okay.
like you're up on that stage and the pressure is immense, and it's like if you miss a question or two, you're pretty much done. But just to qualify, so the way it works at DragonCon is to determine who makes finals, which is kind of to show the event that people can attend and watch, right?
Like at the actual convention.
At the convention, yeah. So to decide who makes finals for the event, you have to and anyone can like try out, right? But you have to take a qualifying test, which is a 50 question multiple choice, like a packet, and it's like a Scantron, like a SAT. It's like a Star Wars SAT basically, and you have to sit there in a room at a certain time with everybody else taking this test, and it's like proctored. So no phones, no talking, no shooting, nothing. So you're all in this room together with all of these other Star Wars fans, and taking this test. You have 1 hour. It's dead silent in there, and you turn the test in, and they're like the most obscure questions, and 50 of them. So then it's Scantron. You turn it in. It gets graded or whatever, and then the either like later that night or the next morning they'll post like the top 10 highest scorers, and those 10 people are the ones who go on to compete in the actual like the show, the event.
Okay.
That people can attend and watch these 10 nerds compete with one another in Star Wars trivia. But yeah, so the process is definitely intense. And it's kind of ridiculous, I mean, it's kind of played. It's played as like, oh, like it's a big joke, like look at these nerds, look how absurd this whole thing is. But it's fun, and and people who do it, we take it seriously. We love it. It's fun for us. We're all friends, we're cool with each other, and every year it's who's it gonna be this year, and it's, I'm coming for you, man. I mean, it's gonna be my year. So yeah, but so the with Schmoedown. If I feel like if you miss an answer, you still have more of a chance to kind of come back. Whereas with DragonCon, it's not always like that.
I mean, yeah, I would agree there, but that's because like in round 2, you have the option if your opponent misses, you could steal.
Right.
So it's things like that. But I think the prime example of how cutthroat the Schmoedown can be was probably Alex's last title match against Ace.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Ace missed, Alex either knew the answer.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I did watch that one. I always watch whenever they do a Star Wars. Oh, yeah. It's tough, man. Whenever they do a Star Wars match, I always watch. And what I do is I play along at home, and I keep score with like how well I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right. And I find that I more often than not will always do almost as well, if not as well as Alex, and I will always or almost always beat whoever it is that he's playing against. So after his match, I text him like, "Yo, man, and I tell him, kind of how I did, and which ones I got right, which ones I missed, compared to him, and but so then, like from watching them, I thought to myself, I was like, well, I could do this, and this looks like fun, and
hell yeah,
and after watching for a couple of years now, like it's finally happening. So my patience, has paid off. Hopefully, we'll see, but it's like this is exciting.
So you've been a fan of the Schmoedown.
Star Wars.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah,
of Alex.
of the Star Wars stuff. Yeah, because of Alex.
Yeah, he's the one that got me into it. Yeah, because I follow him. Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, you were just talking about the actual entry process into getting into the Dragon Con competition at the actual convention, but I want to know more about you now, because we got the Dragon Con stuff. Like, I'm curious about you, Zach. Like, first, I mean, I don't want to go too far back. Maybe we can a little bit later. But
Sure.
how did you find your way to Dragon Con and to competing in these things?
Just kind of by chance, by just kind of like random luck. So I moved to Atlanta in 2017. I'm from Maryland. I moved down in 2017, and the girl that I was dating at the time, who I met after I moved down here, she went to Dragon Con. So she kind of told me, she kind of told me what it was, told me, and introduced me to it, kind of brought me into it that first year. And I said, oh, the Star Wars trivia thing, let me try that out. So I took the test, and of course I made the final.
On your first try, good on you.
Yeah, thanks, man. So, and I was like, this is so crazy, like what is happening? I'm up on stage, all of a sudden, I don't know anybody. I'm just like new guy. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, this is nuts. What's happening? And I did pretty well that first year. I think I made it at least to round 2, possibly 3. I don't, but it was exciting. And then after that first year, I just felt in love with Dragon Con, and I made friends with the people, and now we're all kind of a group, and we hang out and stuff. So that was how I got into Dragon Con. But like Star Wars trivia, more generally, I've always been into Star Wars trivia, movie trivia, just in general. In a way, I've been training my whole life, for this, like, without realizing it. And now, like, here's this like opportunity to put it to good use, and have all this years and years of useless knowledge really pay off, and channel it towards something, channel it like lightning into the flux capacitor.
Hey,
nice. So I mean, the Star Wars, I can't even imagine Dragon Con, because I've obviously been watching Schmoedown for a little bit now. At least I like to think so. And I'm like, these Star Wars questions get out of hand.
oh yeah, they do.
So to you, this is probably just like, wow, this cakewalk. Because I mean, it's just the movies. It's not the video games. It's not the books. Not the extended canon. Like it's just the movies. So what's your thought process on the movies, and how the Schmoedown just focuses on the movies?
It's easier for me. It's less material to have to study. It's a smaller pool of possible questions. So it's like, and the movies are what I'm most familiar with anyway. So that kind of it's less pressure. It's less to study. It's less to study. And the movies. So every year going into Dragon Con, I'm most confident about anything to do with the movies. When it comes to the books, because I don't read every book. Full disclosure, I don't read every comic. And some people do. I mean, obviously Alex does. I don't read everything that. So
Sure.
Sometimes in Dragon Con, I'll get a lucky guess. Sometimes I'll miss because I didn't read that, so I just missed the question. But when it comes to the films, I know them. I know them like the back of my hand. So I'm easily most confident in movie territory over Dragon Con, which covers so many more different types of content.
Which explains why you have all the confidence in the world that you can come in here and take the belt from Alex himself.
Well, so I'm still, so it's definitely intimidating, and I'm still nervous, because in Schmoedown there is still kind of an element of luck with the wheel spins and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and sometimes it depends on the questions you get. So it's not, so I mean, you come in prepared, thinking you know everything, but then still miss because you happen to get the one question you didn't know. Well, you're screwed. So, it could still happen. I'm not trying to, I don't want to come off as like overly confident, but I know for a fact that I can do this.
Well, and coming into a division like this, it's already been established for years now. And even the Star Wars division that we know now, Matt,
it's different than what it was.
It's different than what it was. Shit, it was different when it was 2 years ago, let alone last season. So, like, we've seen so many players come in and out. There were a bunch of people that they liked Star Wars a lot, so they come in to compete. But now, especially this season, we're getting Alex is obviously the champion. You're getting your Andres Cabreras, you're getting your Laura Kellys, your Molly Damons now, and your Joseph Scrimshaws. These people who live, breathe, and live like they live, breathe, and eat Star Wars on a daily basis. Yeah. And it's like you, Zach. Like that, and you may think that your confidence is a bad thing. It's like, if anything,
that's a good thing to have right now. That's why I was commenting on it, because
you have
that's what you need to have going into it, even in any division in the Schmoedown. So to be here, like I'm playing along with these matches as I'm watching it. I'm scoring it and seeing how I did. That's a good thing. I mean,
and you're besting the champ in some cases.
Yeah,
I mean you gotta flex that.
It's like Han Solo said, great kid, don't get cocky. I'm trying to stay a little humble.
Right.
I don't want to, be cocky, but I know I can do it, and I feel good about it, and I have the knowledge and the determination, to do it, which is half the battle. So I feel I'm ready, I'm there, I'm ready.
Yeah. So you did mention up top that you'd be willing to venture in the world of Star Trek for Inner Geekdom. It sounds like based off of your movie knowledge, you could probably be a 3-division player if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I believe that I could. Star Wars, Inner Geekdom, and then what would the third one be?
Like singles team?
Singles,
yeah.
Teams. So
I could do teams. I could do singles. Before I hopped on this call, I was watching some past matches just to kind of study, brush up on how it works, process, and everything.
Sure.
And I was watching. It was from Spectacular. It was the Witching Power versus Founding Fathers.
Okay, that was one of the team's matches leading.
Yeah. So I was just watching, just to kind of familiarize with with people and the questions and everything. And I had a perfect first round. So
and especially in those matches, dude, like you gotta. And the competition's so stiff. What's going on? Let's get ready. What's going on?
Is this Justin or Shug?
Yeah, it's one of y'all. Either way, what's up? But no, it's like, and that's how you gotta approach this thing with all the confidence. And you came in hot. Like before we went live, like you already had the swagger to you, and you're dope, Zach. And if I'm a manager,
I'm taking a hard look. I'm taking a hard look.
I hope so, guys. Thank you.
And if you want to, I mean, you showed us you showed us some documentation before the show started of you have a physical piece of Dragon Con that will tell people that, hey, Alex Damon,
I'll beat you.
This is the year that I beat Alex Damon in Dragon Con Star Wars Trivia.
See, there you go.
Star Wars Trivia champ, Dragon Con champ. Just saying, just putting it out there. I love you, Alex. You're my boy. But yeah, man, I can take you on. And you know that.
Damn right. I want to ask you about the other people you're coming into the Star Wars division with, because you know a few of them due to y'all's past with Dragon Con. But is there anyone that's currently playing that you think that sticks out to you? If you have anybody or anyone that's coming in with you, potentially going into the Schmoedown, that you're like, yo, this person,
he's just messing, but I got a love story.
Oh, yo, what's going on, Shug? But yeah, Zack Burkett, is there anyone coming in with you in the draft that you're like, yo, this person, we should look out for them too? Or is there anyone in the Schmoedown right now that's already been established that you're like, I think I can hang, and they're definitely someone that I'm looking forward to competing against if given the opportunity.
Yeah. So aside from Thomas and Marie, who are my fellow Dragon Con rookies, I'm a huge fan of Sean Chandler.
Nice, yeah.
I love his YouTube channel. I follow him, his rankings, his movie reviews. I really respect and admire him. I've been watching his stuff for a couple years now. It would be cool to face him, I think, as someone that I kind of look up to a lot and I enjoy his content. It would be cool to take him on and see, who's the real movie master. But yeah, Sean's awesome. That would be cool. That would be cool.
It sounds like Shug's already on your side, so that's great. And how you doing, Jess?
Hi, Jess.
I'm going on with Let's Get Ready this weekend on like Saturday.
Saturday? Yeah.
There you go. But look, I think that like the Sean Chandler stuff, when his name was first brought up in the whole draft, like Christian was announcing all these names, like he's one that got a lot of love. And I was unfamiliar with him. I believe, Matt, you're unfamiliar with Sean as well, Sean Chandler.
Yeah.
So, like the fact that like you're a fan of his, and y'all going into this thing together.
It's pretty cool. Sean is awesome, and I remember, way back when he announced that he was going to be on the Schmoedown. I was like, oh no way, Sean's doing Schmoedown. It's going to be awesome. Little did I know that I would be a rookie going into season 2 with him, which is crazy. So I don't know. Maybe we'll cross paths. Who knows? But that'd be pretty cool if we did.
And if y'all did ultimately cross paths, I don't know if he's as much Star Wars as you are.
General. So he's like so I feel like he would be great for like Inner Geekdom. Like, so he's a Marvel guy, comic book guy, but he loves Star Wars too. So I think he could do Inner Geekdom probably, or
maybe that's where you cross over. You jump into Inner Geekdom, maybe.
Yeah.
Or you go ahead and go over to singles, play him. Just even playing ground. Because who knows? You say you're out here a jack of all trades, a movie master, as you just said. So
that could be it. It could be destiny. You never know, and maybe it's fate.
Damn right.
I love Destiny and I love Fate, and I love the fact that you are so confident as a rookie. You're the second rookie we've had on this program. We got a couple more coming on throughout the next few weeks, and I love the energy and the vibe you're bringing, because
brother,
it's what you need to be successful. Whether you're yourself or the Rager or Thomas Harper, it is what you need to do to just survive in this league. And I love how you're like, oh no, I could be a 4-division player if they'll give me the chance. Not a lot of people would say that right off the bat.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I could do it. I feel
hell yeah, dude. We love Zach over here, Spin from the Real. Damn right. And LGI, they'll get you on Saturday, but we got my boy right now. But before we let you go, Zach, I feel like I have to ask, out of all the Star Wars movies, which one's your favorite? Not the best one. Which one's your favorite? Yeah.
So, and that is an important distinction to make, because the best one isn't necessarily my favorite. So my favorite is Return of the Jedi.
Yes. What's the best one in your opinion then?
Empire. All
right, so we have a similar list, because I do a ranking of my best and my favorite.
Yeah,
Return of the Jedi is right up there with my favorite.
When it comes to Return of the Jedi, the first half hour of Jedi is my favorite chunk from the entire saga. If you had to say, if you told me I had to pick one half hour segment of Star Wars, it was all that I could watch the rest of my life, I would choose the opening 30 minutes of Jedi, from the beginning through when they escape from Jabba's sail barge and they leave Tatooine, because to me that epitomizes the spirit of Star. It's the swashbuckling action. The gang's all back together. It's high spirited. It's high energy. There's daring rescues, daring escapes, all the aliens, the creatures. That's that's what Star Wars is to me, and I could just watch that part just on loop, if it ever came down to that, which it never will. But yeah, that's my favorite. If I had to distill the essence of Star Wars for me, it would be that.
I'm actually right with you there. I love that. people get on me when I say that Return of the Jedi is my favorite saber battle. They're like, you have episode 1, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. The fact that all this emotion and whatnot is in Return of the Jedi. It's a father fighting his son for the
and I love that. This and then Luke and Vader's duel at the end. It's operatic, it's dramatic, it's so just high stakes.
Yes.
And I also love. So I'm a sucker for a happy ending. So I love the end of Jedi where they topple the Empire. They're all celebrating, smiling and happy, and you're clapping along and dancing and everything. And it's just, I love the warm, feeling of it all. It's a feel good, kind of proud, like warm and fuzzy kind of ending. And then the end, Force Awakens completely like undoes the victory of Return of the Jedi. But I can watch it and still kind of forget, and I can forget about that, and just like be in that moment with them. So yeah.
And there's Boggs in the chat.
Yeah, that's the homie.
What's up, Boggs?
Yeah, Cobra Kai, bro. But Zach, thank you so much for coming on the program. We really do appreciate you coming on. Where can the people find you on social media if they want to follow you, what you got going on, and your journey potentially into the Schmoedown?
Or as a filmmaker, because he did mention in his video that he put in the Schmoedown page, he's an independent filmmaker. Gotta love it. We got a lot of indie love here in Cleveland. So
yeah, thanks for the plug, man. Appreciate that. So I'm on Instagram. My handle is Jedi Master Misu. That's MISU Misu, and all my film and video content can be found on my Vimeo, which is Vimeo.com/Zack Burkett.
right.
Hell yeah, brother. But and I'll make sure I'm gonna tweet that out for you right now, just so we can show our boys some love. Thank you, Zach. Really appreciate it, dude.
Thanks a lot.
Really love having you on. Hope you get drafted so we can have you on again and talk to you about all that. So
I hope so too. Thank you guys.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, see ya.
Hell yeah.
Gotta love that. That is Zack Burkett, potential movie trivia Schmoedown rookie. Managers, be on the lookout because this guy is on it. He's saying he can do all 4 divisions. Star Wars, Intergeekdom, team, singles, it doesn't matter. He's got it. Give him a shot.
Damn right. Look, I mean, and that was our first time properly meeting Zach. So that was dope. What a great guy. Yeah, but go ahead. I'm gonna put his socials on our social media. On Spin from the Real, at Spin from the Real, like what the name up there on Twitter. So yeah, just go ahead and follow our boy. But we have other guests coming on later.
Yep.
So, but we have some Schmoedown in the chat. Like I as much as I love doing a good interview, we have some Schmoedown because the awards are this Friday. The Schmoedown Awards are this Friday. It's the first week of like the next couple weeks being like absolute chaos amongst the after shows and the fans because we're all celebrating season 7 and looking forward to season 8 in the next couple of weeks. But this week, we're going to look back at the year that was season 7. Because season 7 was pretty damn cool. You're fine. Like it was pretty damn dope. I loved season 7. Like I said on the show multiple times that it's Matt, if Chris is happy, we happy, right?
Yes, sir.
I feel like that's a reference, and yeah. So what?
It's not a reference. It's just
good. I will overthink the hell out of that. But no, season 7. I've said on the show multiple times that it is the most important season the Schmoedown's ever had, and honestly, maybe it's recency bias, but it's probably my favorite season that we saw because of everything that went on throughout the season, all the fun stuff that we got to see. Someone's Day awards.
yes, awards. One that you're nominated for, actually, Shug. So,
and I should we? Yeah, no. Should we talk about podcasts of the year throughout these awards talks?
Yeah,
we'll show love. We'll show love to our fellow after shows because there's a bunch of great after shows and blogs that are being mentioned because they're all kick-ass and they all do great things. But we'll get to that.
Leo Logan in the chat. Pleasure to see you again, Leo.
My main man, Leo Logan. What is going on, homie? But Matt, we haven't talked about our votes because I voted for the awards.
Yeah, I did too. I don't remember. I remember for the big ones like Manager of the Year, Player of the Year, all that. Who I voted for.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to go to the Twitter real quick and try to like refresh my brain.
Oh no, you're perfectly fine. We'll run down in between interviews. We're gonna run down all the categories, and we will just give our 2 cents. And maybe we'll have a prediction, or we'll just give away who we said was gonna win. Because I know Matt and I, we looked at a lot of different things throughout the season differently, with very little overlap.
Nicely.
So, Matt, do you have the categories pulled up?
Yeah, I'm doing it through the MTS Twitter, but yeah, I do.
That's fine.
Right. So
whatever the first one you see, let's do it.
I'm gonna go to the thread and go all the way back. All right, so we're gonna start off with Podcast of the Year because that's the last one tweeted out, and I actually did vote for Let's Get Ready.
Okay. Can you say the nominees for me if you haven't pulled up?
The nominees were A Certain Point of View, Call to Action, Let's Get Ready, Repeat the Question, and Machine Mondays.
Word. This is a highly touted, highly talked about award, at least amongst us in the after show community and some fans, because of some after shows being excluded initially and some others being included. And this one was, oh geez, it was.
It's one that seemed
controversial.
A headache too. It seemed somewhat controversial.
Yeah, it seemed halfway controversial, and I don't want to get too into it as a part of said after show community.
Yeah.
But all of those shows are fantastic in their own ways. And Repeat the Question came in like a ball of fire in the back half of the year.
Yep.
Especially with the free agency stuff. Leo Logan said, I voted for A Certain Point of View. Hell yeah, brother. I'm trying to... Yeah, I think I voted for Repeat the Question solely because of the splash that David Sackrider made in the last quarter of the year. The man he took a brief hiatus, and then when he came back, he was Scoop Master General.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about a lot of the rumors, especially now, and who knows if all the stuff he said was legit or not. But just because of the splash he made in such a short amount of time,
although he has been quiet in the past few weeks,
he's been quiet. Maybe the Schmoedown got to him. Who knows? But maybe the Schmoedown's been feeding him garbage. Frank still found a way to vote for the rundown. Shout out ASG in the chat. Damn right he did. Matt, quick thoughts on this award being called the Rundown Award?
Nah.
Yeah, no. Sorry, Frank. But I think I did vote for Repeat the Question. But all those shows are fantastic. And although Repeat the Question isn't necessarily a show, David writes some incredible articles for his website.
Yeah,
so,
which is why Christian talked about on Backstage when he was there a week or so ago that he's talking about a Schmoedown, 2 separate awards, the After Show podcast and the Schmoedown media. Because there are different forms of media that take place throughout this, so it's a good way to try to balance it out. So,
1,000%. But with that being said, let's move on, brother.
All right, the next one is Feud of the Year.
Oh, hell.
And I remember it was one of 2 options for me. The nominees are Roxy versus Shannon, Shannon versus Winston, Dagnino versus Bateman, Chandra v. Smets, and Founding Fathers v. Corruption. I remember, I can't remember which one I chose, but I remember it was down to Shannon versus Winston and Founding Fathers versus Corruption. Those were the 2 that I...
Word. I will... We do have some overlap. Shout out to our man in the chat. I don't have time to listen to all of them, but enjoy some. Certain Point of View is great. Love his enthusiasm. Word, yeah, 1,000%. But yeah, in Certain Point of View, what was it? Call to Action, Let's Get Ready, Machine Mondays. Repeat the Question. Like, they're all great shows, all great programs, all great websites in some cases. Yeah. So it's a toss-up. It's really the fans will dictate who wins that award. Yeah, that's what's going to be. I mean, all these are, but more so this one because it's what you listen to, it's what you like.
Logan says Shannon versus Winston. And yeah, I think that might have been what had decided to go with because of how the end of the year went, especially with Swag versus Corruption having that come down to Spectacular and all this trash talk going on against that. And you had Winston bringing back the L.
Yeah.
And once again, backing it up. But yeah, that was a really strong finish for them. Our buddy in the chat says it's got to be Shannon v. Roxy, no doubt. The reason I couldn't go with that is because that kind of died down towards the end of the year. ASG versus his internet connection.
I voted for that in the prelims to the actual nomination.
Yes.
1000%. I think this one was clear to me. Like it was clear who won, and it was Shannon and Winston. They were the most entertaining. Like when they were on screen together, it was chaos because both of them would bring the heat. And I said, I forgot what show it was on or what we were doing, but I said like heel Winston's my favorite, and like when Winston's acting like a jerk and he's embracing that heelish persona, like that's my favorite Winston. He did that a lot against Corruption, and especially with how you mentioned with Spectacular, it was Corruption versus the world, and Winston spearheaded the world. And although Corruption came out on top for the better, we were in for a treat between the two of them, and they were the most entertaining to watch. Shannon and Roxy were a close second, because when they would go at each other, oh my god, it'd be ruthless, it'd be relentless, some real shit. But I loved Winston and Shannon. That was my pick. It was clear to me. Like that was an easy one for me to tackle.
All right. Next up, we have Faction of the Year.
Nope. Here we go.
Yeah, this one's gonna lead to some heavy and heated debate over here on Spin from the Real, because I voted for Swag.
Can you? Was it all the factions that were nominated, or just some?
Corruption, Swag, Rockstars, Finstock Exchange, and Quirky Mercs.
Okay, great. You voted for Swag. I mean, I voted for.
Both know you're a corrupt boy, so don't even try to hide.
I voted for the winner of the war.
See, to me, this award wasn't about the winner.
Sure, no, it's not just the winner. Yeah, totally.
So to me, this was about the faction that had the most even production, and
yeah, sure.
And just overall was the faction of the year. And I look at you got to look at Swag in my eyes, because it didn't. They didn't just rely on 3 players. Excuse me, 4 players. 4 players. I'll say 4 players.
My heart just started racing. I'm already getting hot.
Let's see, because you had Ace. You had
don't be disrespectful.
You had Paul. You had Lon.
Yeah.
Yep. And see ASG right there in the chat. Swag had the depth like nobody else, and that is precisely why it was even. Their points didn't come from a select circle; it came throughout the majority of the roster.
1000%. Like you're stating nothing but fact, besides the fact that you're disrespecting the hell out of Corruption, and I don't like it. Like I totally understand. Like Mike Collins and Chance, they definitely led the way.
And Marisol.
But I'll get to Marisol in a second. Like Collins, Chance, and Kalinowski led the way. Like it's no secret. They know that. We know that. That's why Shannon chose the 3 of them to end the season, to start season 8. 1000%. But like yourself, I viewed Corruption, like not even just with gameplay, just as a whole, and what they brought to the Schmoedown this year. The rise that they had from the bottom to end the season on top. Doesn't matter who the hell is leading it, who's leading the charge. They did it. Like looking back at the draft, like when we rewatched the draft at WatCon 2021, like Shannon's draft, it was like it was alright.
But she
was at the bottom, and then look where the hell she ended. Those halfway through the season picks.
See, as I said, that was the halfway through mid-season picks. Winston only had one of those. Everybody
and that's great, and that's fantastic, and that is fantastic. But not only like you had the singles champion, you had two guys who were not only the tag champs, but Chandru is he's the best Intergeekman player probably ever, if not one of them. And like he's the shit. But Mike and Chance can play damn cool. They can fucking hang in Intergeekdom. And then just to go away from those three for a second, Marisol made such a freaking splash when she showed up in teams and in singles. Let's not forget Mark Edward Hoyk and his MVP performance in the horror free for all. Same thing for Adam Collins, who won the damn thing to really solidify the win for Corruption towards the end of the year. Elliot Dewberry was one of the storylines of the year, and you've only seen him a few times. Elliot Dewberry got the shaft. He's getting the shaft. He slept on hard as hell. He's the reason Josh McCougar's not in the league anymore. Let's not forget that. Like, I know people want to focus on Chance, Mike, and Collins as they should, because Collins not only came in like a ball of fire in the singles tournament and had the run of a lifetime. Chance had a great. This was really Chance's season to show everyone what the hell is up with Chance Ellison.
I still think Chance needs to be on a different faction. I'm just going to say that.
Mike Kalinowski, and that's great that you think that. Mike Kalinowski he's a legend of the game. Regardless of how a man's playing down, he's a legend of the game.
Yes, and
I told you, down everybody else.
I told you, I used to be the biggest Mike stan before the heel turn. The heel turn happened. I'm like, nah, I can't.
The heel turn was the best thing to happen to Mike, to Corruption, to at the time Christian. I know Christian ultimately took it back, but pinning Anarchy on Mike was genius. When Anarchy it messed up the team tournament, but it set the standard for teams going forward. Like how many? Like we just saw the some teams break up that were made during Anarchy, and Anarchy was pinned on Mike until Christian had to come and take all the love because people were loving Anarchy too much. And the current champs came out of that. So like I totally get the Swag POV. If it's not Corruption to me, it's Swag by far. Like it's those two teams. Like the Quirky Mercs. Like they had a great season, especially in the back half of the year. The Exchange to me was the disappointing faction the most disappointing faction of the year, and the Stars. Talk about top heavy. The Stars were top heavy. So Corruption, Swag. It's a 2-horse race. I'm not gonna be surprised if Swag wins, but to me, it's Corruption. Like not only did they win the damn thing, but they definitely had their steps to prove it throughout the season. And they had a lot of checkpoints. I don't give a shit who did those checkpoints. It's who they represent. Hence why I think it's Corruption.
See, ASG, that's a good question, and I'm going to lean towards yes, actually, because Dewberry looked like a completely different player these last two matches he had. The one that they filmed before COVID and the one that we got versus Makuga. See, I'm right there with you. Stop that.
Dude, I'm spinning facts, brother. Like I'm sorry.
Like I wasn't.
And I agree with everything you said. I agree with everything you said. But I don't like how you're just it's just those three. No, it's deeper than that. And even those three had a bigger reference. They had a bigger presence, and they spread the love throughout the rest of the faction. No, but you've been saying those three for the last few months. And don't try to correct yourself now.
And each time I corrected myself.
But you keep reverting back. You keep relapsing into that thought process that you had.
It doesn't matter as long as I keep correcting myself.
No one likes to correct it. I'm starting to go fund me for Chris's Corruption t-shirt. Please, send me one. Like I would love to rep Corruption. This could be a K in a heartbeat. All I'm saying is that Corruption, like they won the damn season. Yeah, they had 3 studs. I'm sorry they had 3 killers at the top, but it trickled down. The success trickled down throughout the faction, and Shannon's rise as a rookie manager. Look, Winston has been in the game.
Heart, Boggs. You're breaking my heart.
What's up, Boggs? Boggs knows what's up. Look, and Shannon.
Thank you, ASG. Thank you, ASG.
For points, sure, but with what Shannon has done as a rookie manager, Winston has been in the Schmoedown for years now.
So is she? You can't say
she showed up with Mike last season, and now we're saying she's been part of this for years
too. She's been dating.
Winston was a competitor. Shannon wasn't.
It does not matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? Yes, it does. It does matter.
Who do you think is helping Mike study? Let's be honest. Who was helping Mike study all those years? Her.
Shannon didn't know what the Schmoedown was, so she started going to tapings. What are you talking about? Go listen to her talk about it.
3 years.
Go listen to her talk about it.
She's clearly
Yo. But Winston's coming at this from a different point of view. He was a competitor, turned manager. Shannon was a bystander, turned manager, and look at her now. Starting at the bottom of the damn faction standings in the first quarter of the year to end on top, to be the personality that she is now, and we'll get to her and what else I think Shannon's going to win this year. Faction and manager and the faction title are 3 different awards. I mean, yes, the faction title is, manager is, yes, but I'm saying that they still all feed into each other.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. Yes, they all go hand in hand. What are you talking about? What are you saying?
Because you keep. Here, I get what ASG is saying.
It's the faction as a whole, which contains the manager at the top.
Time out. Pause. And you see why I said I was smart for this. What ASG?
Don't pat yourself on the back because you know you're losing.
No. You see, here's what ASG is saying. ASG is saying the faction, the manager, and the faction title are 3 different things.
And they all go hand in hand.
The faction title, that's where you look hand in hand. The faction is where you look at how the roster performs.
Yeah. I just explained that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you have the manager of the year, is how you look at the manager perform.
Sure.
We're talking about the faction of the year. And
which contains the manager and the faction that won the damn tournament, won the damn worth again.
For faction of the year, I'm looking at the roster who had the most even distribution in their play.
Is that in the description of the award? Is there a description?
There's no description. But
so I'm interpreting this as the faction who was the complete faction of what they did as a group. I get what you're saying. You're just and I'm stating everything I said is correct. Everything I said is fact. Everything I said that corruption has done this year is fact. No, you can't dispute the fact.
They got the title. You keep on to Shannon, turned it around, and they got the title. Cool. Use that.
Shannon led the faction, Matthew.
Faction of the year.
Shannon led the faction. What? How could I not mention Shannon in the faction? You mentioned Winston. We're talking about swag. So why can't I mention Shannon?
I talked about the fact that Winston drafted.
You said his name, so I can mention Shannon.
Yes, but all I said is Winston drafted all these players, didn't have to make any changes. And look, the faction itself, that's the only thing I said about Winston.
So just because Shannon picked up one extra person halfway through the season makes it delegitimizes her? No. We said Winston picked up one halfway through. Shannon picked up 2.
And the one Winston picked up didn't even play.
Ooh. Okay, that's his fault. That's his own fault for picking a person who didn't play. What are you talking about? So now it's Shannon's fault? Then why would faction be award as opposed to just giving to the title or just giving it to the title? That's a great question, ASG. That I'm not qualified to answer.
Really?
But what I will say, so we can move on because I'm starting to get hot. When I look at faction of the year, I look at them as what they've done, who's in it, and how the faction ended their season. Corruption, led by Shannon Barney, they were at the bottom. They were at the bottom of the faction standings at one point, and they were the ugly ducklings of the Schmoedown. And look how they ended. And yes, they were spearheaded by a guy that went undefeated in singles to end the year, Chance Ellison and Mike Kalinowski, triple division threats. But at the same time, we cannot delegitimize what the hell the other members of the faction have done. You cannot tell me every member of Swag did something this year because they didn't. You just said some person throughout that they picked up at halfway point didn't do something.
6-4. That's how I look at it. 6-4.
Who's the 4? In corruption?
4 in corruption were the spearhead.
Collins, Chance, Kalinowski, Marisol, Hoyt, and Dewberry.
Hoyt got one. I'm talking about Hoyt got 3 points. I'm not talking about the 3 point.
He still did something. He had an MVP performance in the free for all. So we're gonna delegitimize Hoyt now.
No. Excuse me. I'm correcting myself here. It's 5-4.
Oh, so we're not gonna talk about Dewberry. Although Dewberry didn't compete too much, he still had one of the best storylines of the year.
2 matches. We're not talking about storylines. It's about performance. Two matches.
So, why can't I talk about storyline? Why can't I talk about storyline? Why?
Because that doesn't involve faction of the year. That goes to the.
How do you know? Also, did you make the award?
Oh
did you make the award? Tell me. Did you talk to Christian? It's like, hey, Christian, what's faction of the year? No storylines? Word. If you're telling me that, then okay, I'll shut the F up.
Opinion is what this is. In my opinion, storyline don't mean shit to faction.
And in my opinion, storyline means everything.
No, because
it means
a storyline can be given to one faction.
You're just mad because Corruption did way more storyline wise than Swag. And you can't dispute that. I mean, I totally get why you're saying it. Oh shit, Leo! Thank you, Leo. Laura had one. Leo Logan with the save.
Yes,
Leo Logan with the save.
If it's two matches or less,
my best friend, Leo Logan, my best friend. I love you, Leo.
As I just said, if it's two matches or less, I'm not giving it any mind.
Who said that?
I said this is what I'm saying.
Oh, you said that. Okay.
I'm saying I don't factor two matches or less into this equation because
so you're not even going to mention Laura Kelly and her the great character work she did this year.
It's not about the character to me. It's about the sport. It's about the performance of the actual.
Look at the people that are about to go into the draft. It's characters, bro. It's what Christian focuses on in this sport. That is the Schmoedown.
Let me finish. Do not interrupt.
Oh, he's just shitty now. Mm-hmm.
Ace Cabrera. What was it? Four matches that he had to win to. I got Popeyes. I'm in the middle.
Love Popeyes. Thanks, George.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Chris, that's
your consolation prize.
No.
For this POV.
Ace had 4 matches.
Ace had 4 matches. They're all great too.
Excuse me, 5 matches because he had the play-in match, the 2, then the championship, and
I don't want to talk about spectacular. That didn't do my boy justice.
I'm talking about the tournament championship, not spectacular.
Oh, sure.
But he had 5 matches total. That's that. So there's 5. Oyama had 4 or 5 between singles and actually, I count Geekdom. 6.
Did Oyama hold a belt this year?
No.
Okay, just so I can put that out there too. Continue. You're saying?
Then you have Chandru.
I cannot dispute Chandru. I can't.
I'll say this: if it weren't for the fact he got the knockout in one of his 2 matches, I wouldn't even put him towards this because he only had 2 matches.
Sure. Yeah.
But the Smet
2 great showings. Yeah.
Smet's being the knockout came in a title match against Kevin Smets.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's one of those things where you're like, okay, because like I said, Dewberry only had 2 matches. One was a storyline match. The other one set up the storyline. And my issue is we never got to see that storyline in its true form.
Sure.
But Laura Kelly had 2 matches, lost one, won the first one.
And a barn burner to the guy that ended up winning. Like, it's not that she put on bad performances.
No, and I'm not trying to make it sound like that.
You can even ask Ace. That match could be the whole Star Wars division this year could have been different off of one question.
Yeah.
So you can't diss Laura Kelly. Thank you, Leon. How could I forget Laura Kelly? But
the fact that Chandru KO'd Smets and then retained the title, that's the only reason I'm counting his 2 matches because of the strength of those matches. They were title matches. So they automatically had more points attached to them.
No, and I mean, and that's just a circumstance that Chandru's a part of, even though Chandru only got that title shot because Mike opted not to do it. So I mean, it was still.
I still think you would have beat Mike.
And that's fine. Like, and the Corruption still had their hands all over it because Corruption, it's the shit. And even though Chandru, like, he's the best Intergeekdom player right now, no one's gonna beat him anytime soon. I can stand by that in confidence. I know our boy Boggs in the chat will probably agree with me that no one's touching Chandru. I'm sorry, Mara. Spiffing her around for best after. You're too kind.
ASG, Kelly Hoyt, Dewberry all got less than 5 points.
I'm thinking big picture, and that's
Chandru, Liz, Final Exam all got 10+ points.
And okay, and that's fact, and I cannot dispute that. But I'm thinking bigger than points, because points is what won Corruption the faction war. And I thought we weren't talking about the faction title. I thought we weren't talking about that.
I'm saying I looked at how those points were spread across the faction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I had to go swag.
And let me reiterate, before I really lose my voice. Swag probably going to win this award. I think...
A bite of this before it gets cold.
Word. I think, while Matt takes a bite out of his chicken sandwich from Popeyes, the best chicken sandwich in any fast food chain, what I will say is that Swag will probably win because of Winston's impact and the amount of players that he's like. And when you hear these players talk about him, Chandru makes this incredible case for him on social media a couple weeks ago, and I can't dispute that. I can't dispute Winston, right? What I'm defending is your blatant disrespect to corruption, and I think that corruption, and I bet a lot of people think like you, and I'm here on my pedestal, on my soapbox. Let me get off of it real quick. Like corruption, they did way more this year than besides the points. And that's what, to me, faction of the year is. The faction that made the difference in the Schmoedown. Not only in points, but overall. Hence why I say corruption. But if we were to do a should win, will win, who I think should win is corruption. Who will win, swag. Because I agree with everything you said. I agree with everything you said. I'm not disputing I'm not disputing any of that, because I can't. It's all fact. But corruption... I think they're...
ASG, I'm exactly with you.
I think Corruption Shannon will win, but Swag should win. I'm in the inverse, because I think a lot of people think like Matt. So
see, I look in the Facebook group daily, and I see everybody talking about corruption. So,
and I mean, and all of us in the corruption group chat, and one day I'll have to add you to this, Matt, because it's a riot. We have so much fun. But we talk about how great corruption is and how they should win all the belts, all the awards, but they probably won't because a lot of people will share those 2 cents like you. But faction of the year, Matt chose Swag. I think it should be corruption. It probably will be Swag, but I'm hoping, praying for corruption.
All right, moving on, because wow, you see why I said I plan.
It's because you say disrespectful things, and I come on this show, and I all I want to do on Spin from the Reel is have a great conversation with you, which is what we usually do. We have great conversation about the Schmoedown, and then you come in here with the corruption's only led by 3 players, and I'm like, wait a second, like it's bigger than that. Although a lot of the points did come from those 3, it's bigger than that. So yes, and you're asking the guy that does a pro wrestling show every Friday on Who Are They's Real Entertainment's YouTube channel. So I think the character stuff too. I can't help myself. I just can't do it. The name. Oh, you changed my name. I didn't even notice. But yeah, that's me. Like I love corruption. My favorite faction. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Let's move on.
New team of the year. Final exam. Deep 13. The Pride. Witching Power and Deception. I think this is a runaway final exam. There's no.
Yes. Yeah. No. And
I can't say that. I can't hear. Deep 13, they played well in their 2 matches, and didn't they win one and lose the other?
Deep 13 should have played more. Like it's God, like Deep 13 got the shaft this year, and it was. I know they were just a part of a faction that switched leadership halfway through, and they were a blatant snub in this teams tournament. Like I know you had a lot of love for category, no, not you, but a lot like whoever was leading category 9 or the Droogs, depending on who you ask. Maybe Ken and maybe Brain and Hannah, but putting Hannah and Jada in there was a test, and we saw how it panned out.
Final exam, yep. The only other team I would personally have said had a shot at this if I like they actually came into my mind for a second. I might surprise some people, but Witching Power was who I had as my second choice.
Ooh, I wish we got to again another team. I wish we got to see more of. I know the COVID stuff really changed a lot of that stuff up. We probably would have saw a lot of these teams more so than what we already did. Witching Power.
Yeah, you are right about that.
Yeah, Rogue to ticket the Ultra Shaft 1000%. And it was the format and how they had to change things up and the lack of They had to focus on tournaments for the majority of the summer. It was a rough year. In a normal year, I hope all these teams. Deception's hard too. Deception only had 2 matches. I wish I got to see more of them. I love
Disruption.
Disruption. I do love Marisol and Adam as a team. I doubt we'll see them because I think Marisol's going to go pretty high in the draft. At least unless Crush
makes that trade.
Yeah, unless Santa makes some wonky trade, which I don't even know where to begin with that. So it's final exam. And Winston might keep them as a team going into next year. Which if he did, I'd be shocked. But if he did, that's a potential tag team championship right there. Whenever we do get back to teams in season 8.
All right, I'm gonna skip this other section because I think they'll use a lot. All right, entrance of the year.
Sure.
Fortune Flaus versus Kevin Smith.
Okay.
The Real Rejects versus The Pride.
Okay.
Bonnie Somerville versus Marisol McKee.
Oh,
Real Rejects versus Cuckoo's Nest. Shazam versus Final Exam.
Oh man, this one was weird.
I think I voted for because I'm gonna be honest. The only 3 I remembered were the Real Rejects versus The Pride, which was the Dan Merle entrance, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Bonnie Somerville versus McKee.
For obvious reasons.
Yes, and Zaflirten Flaus versus Kevin Smith. And I think I voted first Zaflirten versus Kevin Smith because out of those 3 that I could remember, it was the most memorable.
Man, in hindsight, the Zaflirten Flaus thing, I tried. I rewatched the beginning of that match, and it was the shock value of it is what is appealing to me.
Yep.
And if you don't watch SCN, you're not going to get it. Or if you didn't watch SCN when Zaflirten first showed up at the beginning of the pandemic, you're not going to get it.
Leo, I can totally understand what.
Leo, Bonnie might win because of that, you know?
Because she shocked a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when her promo dropped before the match. Chris was like, Matt, you have to go watch Bonnie's promo.
Because it caught me off guard. I was Leo, you don't have to apologize. I was I was shook too. I believe I voted for Shazam and Final Exam. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Bonnie won solely based off the Smoke Show. So solely based off of that. And because Leo, I guarantee you're not the only one that thinks that.
ASG, I wish that was there because that would have been fucking great.
That that would have been fantastic too. I wish. Speaking of Lon, I wish this was a category this year. Next year they should really implement character of the year or something like that.
Yeah.
Or at least show love to the. I hope on Friday they show love to the characters and the work that these guys and these girls go through to put on these incredible characters. Whether it is a professor or why am I forgetting Lon's second one? What was Delinquent? Thank you. Delinquent, you're a debonair, you're dastardly, you're Video Drew, there's so many great characters in the Schmoedown that I think it should be recognized as well. Maybe not an award, but something like that, at least to showcase them and how great these competitors are, especially with all the fan tapes and all the great hype packages that we've been seeing over the last few months or last month. There are a lot of great characters that could be entering the Schmoedown, and they should get recognized. But Lon, if that was up, that would sweep. That would take everyone's vote, 1,000% ASG.
All right. Moment of the year.
Oh God.
Bibiani and Draco Spectacular 5, which is the.
They were showing love to each other.
Yeah. Merle versus Bateman. I won.
Oh yeah.
Smith gives Jericho Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's a good one.
Shannon drafts Dewberry. Merle and Collins post interview. I'm pretty sure for this one I chose Shannon drafts Dewberry.
I also chose Shannon drafts Dewberry. If my impassioned speech about the corruption didn't prove to you why I thought that was so important. Tom's another one. Thank you, ASG. Tom, and I know Tom's not competing next season, but we should still recognize those characters. But there's some great. Those are all great moments in their own way.
To me, there was only two I felt were really great moments, and that was Shannon drafts Dewberry, because that was something that echoed throughout the entire season. Like it,
Yeah, and people still aren't over it.
exactly. Me being one of them. And then Merle versus Bateman, I won. That was just seeing Dan Merle shocked that he came out as the winner, especially after that rough. What was it? Round 4. He had a rough one of the middle rounds were just rougher for him.
I want to say it was a combination of 3 and 4.
Yeah. So
based off my memory, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad.
I believe you're correct.
But
Logan says Shannon drafting Dewberry.
To me, right, with the exception of Shannon and Dewberry, especially after rewatching it at WatCon 2021, like it was so nonchalant, and little did we know the impact it would have throughout the rest of the season, how it would just echo in everyone in the back of everyone's brains. To me, a very close second, and something I've talked about on this show a few times since it's happened. Andreyko and William Bibiani's like just their not only showing love to them, but to showing love to all the other competitors that are buddies and that are friends outside of the game. Because sometimes fans, not just us, like we get lost in this thing and we forget that these people hang out all the time. And when they used to do studio tapings, they'd be with each other for hours on end, and like they're buddies, and a lot of these people got really close because of the Schmoedown. And seeing Andreyko and Bibiani verbalize that, and Andreyko just start crying because of how Bibiani was like poetically just talking about all the friends he's made in the Schmoedown, how much he cares and loves all of them. Like it was so real to me, and it broke down the kayfabe walls, and I loved it so much. It got me emotional as hell, and that was after a long day of us watching some Schmoedown, and during our little watch along of it. But like it got an emotional reaction out of me. It just if I had more time on it, if that would have happened sooner in the season, I would have said Andreyko Bibiani. But Shannon's picking of Dewberry directly after Winston chose Makuga. Oh my God! Like what? It was definitely a moment. A moment's putting it lightly, at least for the ramifications that they had throughout the year.
Yeah. So we pretty much agree on that one. So let's move.
Yes. Yeah.
We're gonna go with the upset of the year.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Your nominees were Cabrera beats Demolanta.
Word. Okay.
Ellison beats Parker. Collins beats Roca. Cabrera beats Kelly. Perry beats Kalinowski.
Can I go first on this one?
Go ahead.
Okay. So there were a couple great ones on this. I wish, in a perfect world, Ace's whole tournament that should be acknowledged. Ace was the underdog in every matchup he was in, every single one. When Matt and I talked about the Star Wars tournament on this show, we had Ace losing to the pit boss in the first official round of the tournament. Mm-hmm. And little did we know he was going to beat Ken and beat Laura and beat Demolanta. I'm like, well, fantastic. Oh God! But to me, how can I not say Collins and Roca? Like
that was number 2.
I can't. And just to take me back to that moment, right? It was Collins and Roca. Collins had put out a promo from his
That was
Coyote
the first correction promo, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and I remember vividly. I'm like, this guy's that promo was good. Like I like that. That was good. And John Roca's John Roca. He's the outlaw. What else do we expect? And when we saw them face off against one another, and Collins was going toe-to-toe with one of the greatest of all time, depending on who you ask.
He was whooping on him.
And like he was, like it was, to me, like I kept saying changing of the guard changing of the guard this year, because a lot of this new talent was coming in, and they were coming in hot. Little did we know, and what we thought, we had Roca going to the damn final.
Yeah.
And winning. We both had Roca winning the damn thing on this show. Play the tape back. And little did we know, this new guy that Corruption picked up halfway through the season. His name's Adam Collins, the Coyote. The Coyote. What kind of nickname is that? I think it's Coyote. He beat Gallegos he beat Gallegos, right? All right, great. And then Roca, and he beats Roca like he beats Roca. It's not a close game. He beats Roca, and we're all like, oh god, like, and that's how we knew Collins was nothing to play with. Like this guy just came out of nowhere. We did not know who the hell he was, and he comes in second match ever, and he beats one of the greatest of all time. In a season where Roca had to almost prove himself with every outing. Like he had the mentality, and the fans and the people in the front put the pressure on him. Like you gotta bring it. Season 7 was the season to bring it, and Roca lost to the guy who had his second match ever that day.
So I did not go with that as the upset of the year. I actually am with the guys in our comments, which is
what's the chat saying?
Perry over Mike.
Perry over Mike. Yeah.
Over Mike. And Leo put my reasoning in there as his exact reason. I have the exact same reason. Here's the thing: Roca had already been playing rough in the digital format.
Sure. Yeah.
We talked that if Collins played, I remember. Go back to the tape. We said if Collins plays the same way he does against Roca as he did against Andreas, he had a shot to beat Roca. We did say that, but we doubted he would do that. We said it was just. But we both doubted him at that point. No,
we still we were not. I mean, at least I should say I wasn't on the Collins bandwagon yet.
Yeah.
Because we thought Roca was going to be Roca, and to your point, and to Leo's and to ASG's, we thought Mike was going to be Mike.
Yep. And that's the thing. Mike wasn't Mike, and Perry came in and destroyed him.
Yeah, I don't want to say destroy. You use the word destroy so loosely. I don't want to do that.
That was destroyed because I think she KO'd. If I remember correctly, she KO'd him.
She didn't KO. I don't think so. Chat, correct us if we're wrong.
I'm going back and checking, but
I don't think so. I don't know if it was a knockout per se, but that the Mike, because and to add on to your point, and to Leo's and the ASGs in the chat, Mike. He forgoed his number one contender spot, his number one contender match to join this tournament, to gain points for Corruption, and he lost first round to someone who hasn't competed at a top-notch level probably ever in the Schmoedown. Perry was never known for her great performances.
And then to me, the upset only added more when we saw how she continued to play going forward. Sure, she lost to Riley. But it was close. It was close.
Yeah. Like it wasn't a blow up by any means. No. And
okay, it wasn't a knockout. She just won. But
she won straight up. Okay.
Yeah.
But still, no. But to your point, like Mike, he opted not to do the Ben Bateman match in August because he wanted to do the tournament for Corruption, and that's how you go out. And that match not only elevated Perry, but to a lot of people, it devalued Kalinowski at the same time. Because it was like, oh, Mike, like maybe Mike's not as good as we remember him being. And those teams matches didn't do Mike any justice either. And I love Mike Kalinowski. That man's one of my favorite competitors to watch. But I truly believe that the Collins one just edges it out just a little bit more for me because he came in like we didn't know who the hell this man was, and Perry.
We had an idea of who he was because we saw him a week before. We had no idea what we were getting with Perry, and all of us expected the same Perry from 3 years ago.
We thought Mike was going to stop, and he didn't.
And he didn't. She didn't even have to answer all of her questions.
Yeah, I totes get it right, and I voted maybe it's the Collins stan that this K wears on his back.
I'm pretty sure it's the Collins stan in this.
But I'm not going to be surprised if this wins. But at the same time, I don't want to also. Can you repeat the other 3 nominations for me if you still haven't pulled up? I know Demolanta and Ace was one of them.
It was Demolanta versus Ace, Demolanta Kelly, Perry, Mike, Roca, and hold on, I gotta go back because of course Shug tweeted at me a little bit ago, so
Come on, Shug!
I had to see what that was about. He said I broke his heart, and I don't know why.
Probably because you were saying some outlandish, disrespectful stuff.
It was while what's his name? It was
Zach.
Zach was on.
Don't disrespect Zach.
I'm not trying to. It's just one of those things where like we.
Come on, nah.
Bro, it's been a long day.
It has.
And we got a long night ahead of us.
You're damn right. And we're going to be here. I ain't going anywhere.
We got a long night ahead of us past this, and I'll tell you why in private chat.
Bro! We got surprises? I like surprises.
Good surprise.
Okay, good surprise. But no, seriously.
Yeah, Ellison Parker was the other one.
Ellison Parker. I mean, okay, like, yeah, Chance did intergeekdom just for doing intergeekdom, and Robert Parker was held on a pedestal by the league. Like, he was drafted in the second round, total unknown, and to me, he did not live up to his potential in intergeekdom, not yet. And we can totally see him in season 8 just kick so much ass. He's had a lot of time to sit down and study. But, woo! Oh, damn, that was damn. So, damn, I lost a train of thought now. Damn, private chat. So, yeah, Ellison Parker, it was a great showcase for Ellison and Intergeekdom, and it also proved that Parker wasn't what Parker was hyped up to be going into that match. Mm-hmm. I don't want to discredit Demolanta and Cabrera, though, because that might actually win this damn thing because of Ace's run throughout that tournament, going into facing Damon at the end of the year. And I will still stand by saying Andres, that match doesn't reflect how he played throughout the year. And maybe it was the spotlight, maybe it was spectacular, maybe it was Damon. Something got in his head, right? And he just wasn't in it the way he was throughout the Star Wars tournament. And the fact that he beat Demolanta, still someone whom the Schmoedown community is scared to play Damon because they think that he will dethrone Damon before Burkett gets there, before anybody else from the Star Wars division gets to even touch Alex in the match. ASG in the chat, he showed he lived up to the hype with his accuracy percentage. Okay,
that was a close match, so you got to give him that. Yeah.
No, and are we talking about?
Talking about Parker and Chandler.
Okay, no, yeah, and
Parker and Chance.
No, and I totes get it, but like Chance, the guy that just did the tournament just because, and he went to the final and won, you know, and that plays into it too. And maybe, who knows, maybe the winner of that match determines the winner of the Intergeekdom tournament, which really, the league's different if the dungeon wins that tournament. But that Demolanta Cabrera match, that might win. That might totally win. But I voted for Collins, but I think I've been swayed in this conversation, and with ASG and Leo Logan in the chat. Perry Mike was really damn good, and the ramifications for Mike losing were bigger than Roka losing at the time. So that's some real shit. Damn, that's a good category too. And if someone come in here and be like, "Yo, Demolanta Cabrera is the winner," or it should win because, and I would totally back them up because it's fantastic. I could defend Collins Roka all I want, but Perry Mike's a really good one as well.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Just before I go to this one, let me just check the other. All right. Well,
by the way, for all the folks watching, if you're not following us on Twitter, please do so. At Spin from the Real. The title up there, just like that on Twitter. At Spin from the Real. Yeah. We chat on Twitter all the time. But Matt, let's do it.
All right. So, we have the heel team of the year.
Okay. Heel team of the year, and you got the noms.
Corruption, The Pride, Deception, Odd Couple, Category 9.
Okay, you said Corruption, The Pride, Deception, Odd Couple, Category 9.
I went with Odd Couple.
Why was Category 9 even there? Just by default?
I think because of Brandon Hanna.
I mean, trust me, like, Brandon Hanna, like, I'm not, like, you know who the real hitman of the Schmoedown is? That Bret Hart cameo that Jake Icavetta got for Christian. That's the real hitman of the damn Schmoedown. But why is Category 9 even there? No, Jader's not even a heel. Jader's so dope. I forget about Jader going into the draft. Jader might be a steal.
Leo says Corruption. I had Odd Couple. Corruption didn't have a ton of burn this year, and
a lot of what?
a lot of they didn't have a ton of matches, and I look at the Odd Couple.
Sure.
The Odd Couple had quite a few, and I got to see more of the Odd Couple this year. I agree, Leo. Logan Jader is not a heel in Category 9.
No.
Right, Mark is not a heel, so I don't consider Odd Couple a heel team. I understand that.
I agree with ASG.
I understand that. It's just because of who Roxy is and who Schneider is why I can Mark is just like the bystander, while those two are the ones wrecking the heel shop. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Mark is just I'm here to win. He's one
Snyder's the mouthpiece, the heel mouthpiece of the Odd Couple, 1000%. So
with that in mind, that's why I gave it to them. The performance throughout the year, winning the teams tournament, winning the title, and especially, I'm sorry, but their attitude in Spectacular did play a way into my voting for this, because that still rubs me the wrong way. So yeah,
and I don't even think that's heelish. I think it's more so just straight up being annoyed at what was going on with their gameplay and with their opponent's gameplay.
Yeah, so Odd Couple of 9.
Oh God, I mean, so with the whole Jader being in Category 9, not being a heel, I interpret the same thing for Mark Andreyko. Mark Andreyko, to me, has not ever come off as a heel in the Schmoedown. Never. Mark's always come off as he hasn't put on a character, but even when he puts on a character, just because he talks shit doesn't mean he's a heel. People can talk shit and still be baby faces, which narrows it down to the others. Is it weird that I want to say the Pride just because it's we're heels? It's to me that the fire that Ben Goddard got.
Snap! Y'all aren't ready for this.
Sweeps. Look, but to me, it's corruption. I can echo every sentiment I've had in the last hour, right, about corruption, but truly, regardless of their performances, their appearances is what made the difference for me, because they're heels to a T. Even Deception didn't give me heel vibes. It was more so them feeding off of the vibe that Corruption, the tag team, Chance and Mike already had, and interpreting it into their own way for Deception. And the Pride, we're heels. Ben Goddard again makes you pop every time.
That's the precise reason I didn't vote for them.
Because they had to point out themselves they were heels.
Yep.
No, and Ben Goddard he's going to have a kick-ass season 8 as a heel, as he should be. But to me, but we're here. I'm telling you, Leo on that same wavelength. So I'm picking Corruption just because of
it's understandable. Like I said, the only reason I didn't get to see him as much, and I think it was more because I got to see so much of the Odd Couple and how Snyder acts and
things Snyder's probably the best. Especially after this season, this may be a bold statement. Snyder's probably the best heel ever. Yeah. Like Patriots, Odd Couple, his single stuff, him making the presence he makes himself. He makes himself known in the Facebook group. He talks shit to us fans. So because there's Guy, there's Roca or the Outlaw, to be specific, and who else? Who else stacks up to Snyder heel wise besides Guy and Roca?
Guy, Roca, Mike. Chandru.
I'm not ready to put Chandru there yet.
I can't. Chandru just annoys. Snyder hasn't always annoyed the living hell out of me. Chandru, as a heel, ever since he had the heel tendencies, has always annoyed the living hell out of me.
To me, oh man, not Chandru. I think it's still too fresh in my brain, and maybe it's the recency bias.
I love it.
AJ, I voted for the Pride just to see Christian be pissed if they win. I mean, that'd be one. I want to see Christian get upset at who the fans voted for certain awards. That's the show. That's the show I want to see. I want to see Christian get shitty because everyone voted for the Pride. Damn, ASG, you should have told me. I would have voted for the Pride too. That'd be hilarious. But no, seriously, I think Snyder, not only his run with the Patriots, not only his run with the Odd Couple, but the stuff with the Lions Den was incredible, and his single stuff. People need to put more respect on Snyder's name, us included. Like I'm not even trying to sugarcoat it. I'm not trying to like cover our own ass. Like we haven't been the most we haven't given Snyder the love that we should have. And to end the season, he definitely was like, oh, like those two kids from Spin from the Reel. Yeah, here's this crow. I want you to eat this on the show. Because that's exactly what happened when the Odd Couple won the belts. They won the tournament. Because we didn't have them winning the tournament. We didn't have them even getting close to the belts. Them losing to Lethal Weapons, and we saw how that panned out. So, I'm just, oh God, is Snyder the best heel ever? Is Snyder the best heel ever? Like and Snyder's heelish tendencies are backed up by his gameplay and his belts. You can't say that for Guy. And recently with Roka's gameplay doesn't reflect the Outlaw.
Yeah.
Snyder's always been consistent.
Roka has been more of a face the last few years.
Until Spectacular.
Yeah. So that's why I don't even want to, because I've forgotten all about heel Roka. Like for the most part, it's.
Woo!
I'm just saying, like the last few years, I forgot until Spectacular how good of a heel he could be.
Without heel Roka, the Schmoedown ain't as big as it is.
I know, but
like
we got to keep moving on because we got two guests coming on in a little bit. So,
let's keep trucking. Let's keep going.
All right, heel of the year. This one's easy.
Laura
Kelly, Elliot Dewberry, Jeff Snyder, Brandon Hanna, Chandler the Chosen, Shannon Barney.
Shannon.
There's one answer. Yep, Shannon. There's one answer here, and that's Shannon Barney.
What an impression, Shannon Barney.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what an impression. Like, Chandru didn't become a heel till halfway through the season when everyone made him become a heel. Because we were also, like, he was all like, yeah, dancing, doing whatever he was doing. Like, he was doing that because he wanted to be a face. Because who doesn't want to be a good guy? You want people to root for you. You want people to cheer for you.
Chandru is already getting there. He is. He was probably my second.
Chandru was my second. Yeah, because of how he ended the year. Because, my God. Like, as a wrestling fan, I love me a good heel. And, boy, did I hate Chandru for good reason. It's like, for my wrestling fans out there, if you're watching, it's like 2008, 2009 Chris Jericho, where my man was just berating fans. Like, Chandru was going out of his way to be obnoxious because fans were like, stop it! Stop it! Like, because that's, like, someone on this show would see Chandru's antics and they'd be like, yo, I don't like this. I don't like this. And I'm over here like, yo, he's doing his job. But Shannon did a better job with what she was given, what the platform she was on. She sparked multiple feuds throughout the year, and her promo work is bomb. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so dope. Like, she's up for she's nominated twice for Feud of the Year. And she's the heel both times. Like, I mean, you can argue Roxy's also a heel, but with me and how I view their dynamic, Shannon is the bad guy in that situation. So Shannon, she just made one hell of an imprint, one hell of an impact, character-wise. Like, this is where I won't acknowledge her accomplishments. Like, just her as a character and what she brought. She's the reason Laura Kelly's nominated. She's the reason Elliot Dewberry is nominated.
Whoa, Chandru. Chandru's
getting a lot of love in the chat.
Is the only answer. Shannon is barely.
ASG! ASG coming in hot. ASG. Look, bro, homie. Okay, I get why you choose Chandru. 1,000%. I get it. Like, he's my second, close second, right? But Shannon, to me, is the answer. Like, people would cheer for Shannon, but she could still be.
That's what makes her the best heel, in my opinion, because people love her, but at the same time, they hate her. They show her this cheering and love because of how much they respect. She doesn't give a fuck.
Rewatch the draft. Like, her first appearance officially as a manager of a faction. She was getting booed at the draft, and she hasn't even done anything yet. Mm-hmm. She hadn't done shit yet. Like, the only thing that she did was kiss Mike Kalinowski at a live event, who was a kick-ass heel. who still is a kick-ass heel. Like, but season 7 took a step back, so Shannon can get the spotlight, as she should, and she did a great job with it. Like Shannon Barney, to me, that's the answer. I get why y'all say Chandru, I totally do. Yep. But to me, Chandru didn't become a heel until the fans made him become a heel. If the fans were cheering for Chandru, if they liked what he was doing, they liked him doing all this little stuff. If they dug that, if we all dug that, he'd be a face right now. Shannon wasn't going to be a face. No, and you can love a heel. You can love a heel though. Like, and maybe it's a pro wrestling brain in me. Like in pro wrestling, fans cheer the heels all the time. That doesn't make them any less of a heel. It's how they interact with other competitors. And Shannon's always the heel with other competitors. So like that's how I view it. But again, we'll have 2 different POVs. Taylor Creek in the chat. Shannon is a heel, but so good at what she does that people can't stay mad. Exactly.
The Ragent of the Rager has spoken. Yeah, the advocate of the client, Rick Radis. He like that's it to a T. Like Shannon was so good at being a heel, you had to respect it. And that's how I am with Chandru as well. Like I let's not get it twisted. I view Chandru the same way. I may not be the biggest fan of his character because I'm supposed to not like him, but I respect the shit out of him because he embraced the role he was given after the fans turning on him. He wanted to be that likable guy. You can tell. Go back and watch his early matches. Out here coming out in the onesie, doing the whole swag thing, drip, and look how he ended the season. But Shannon was like that all year. From my POV. Let me get back to this list.
Yeah, that's just our 2 cents though. I totally understand the Chandru pick. Totally. Because Chandru kicks ass. Chandru will have a kick-ass season 8.
Babyface Team of the Year, moving on.
Okay.
Your options are Founding Fathers, Real Rejects, Witching Power, Final Exam, Shazam.
Shazam.
Yeah, I was stuck between Shazam and Final Exam, but Shazam won the title. That was the tiebreaker for me.
Plus, like, how can you not root for Bib and the Kid?
I know. It's
like they were so likable, and Bibiani is the epitome of a babyface. Like he's always been like that in his career. The times they tried to make my man heel, or the times he tried to cut heel promos, doesn't work because you can't help but like the guy. And when the Kid showed up on the scene, this clean-cut, legitimate babyface, and you pair them up together, like it's like Sugar Spice and Everything Nice. Like, cause they can cut their heel, they can talk their shit. I should say they can talk their shit when they need to, but they don't. And they were only elevated by their manager Coy, which, by the way, I know we'll get to this in a second. Shazam and the way they interacted with the Odd Couple was so faced. Exactly. They lost that match at Spectacular on the biggest stage of the year. And they're like, yeah, we lost, but we effing love the Odd Couple. And I was like, oh, like the Shazam hit home, especially Bibiani, between him and the Kid. So,
I'll be right back, folks.
Word. So I truly believe that Bibiani is like that's the move. Like to me, that's how I interpret Babyface of the Year. Because honestly, and our boy Leo Logan in the chat again, Shazam. Oh, and by the way, I want to go back. I don't think Matt put this up. ASG. I can't believe Dewberry got nominated over Roxy. Right? Like as much as I was hyping up Dewberry earlier, like you can't not nominate Roxy Stryer for Heel of the Year. And I know we'll get back to like Manager of the Year and stuff because I would love to hear y'all's POVs on that when we get there. But the fact that Dewberry he got the nod, because I get the Laura Kelly choice, I get the Brandon Hanna choice. My God, Brandon's one of the best heels of the league currently. Like, I'm talking about just putting yourself out there and people just not being receptive of it. Him and Chandru are in the same boat to me, and they both excelled at their roles because of it. And now Hannon's bringing Sabrina into the fold, and I think they're going to do some great stuff going into next year if they're on the same faction. We'll see. But yeah, Dewberry, maybe because of that one match with Makuga at the Throwdown in November. Maybe that's what it was. Like he just got the love because of that. But you have to love the attempt that Dewberry, like the whole character change that Dewberry had. Like it's awfully impressive, at least to me. The little things that Dewberry did in that match against Joshua Makuga. Plus, he retired the Wild Man. Let's not forget. And I mean, just so I can kill a little bit more time for Matt gets back, I don't want to move on without the boy. Like, season 7 freaking ruled. Hi, Matt. Season 7 ruled. And the fact that we can have such impassioned discussions about this just proves how good a quality the Schmoedown was last season. And I know we'll get into that more so later, especially when we talk about Match of the Year. And we bring on our other two guests. Which, by the way, for those before they get here, for all those new watchers, hi, my name's Chris. That's Matt. We co-host Spin from the Real, the Schmoedown reaction show. And follow us on Twitter, Spin from the Real on Twitter. That up there. But we're having
our Really Trivia Showdown, Really Trivia Showdown. New season's about to start up. We're about to open up. We had to cancel Atonement, and you'll see why in the title match video. But yeah, we got that coming up. Gonna have the IG starting with a match with this fellow right here. And
we have a lot going on the channel. Just follow us on social media, and we have Thomas Harper and Jesse Swift coming on the show.
Yeah,
and those are two interviews I'm looking forward to a ton. On top of our boy Zack Burkett, if you missed his interview, rewind this video and go and check it out. But let's keep going.
In the chat, season 7 was so crazy. Bibbs got a first ever perfect game and didn't even get nominated for Match of the Year. Yeah, that is insane.
God. And we'll get to Match of the Year in a second. Oh my God, Match of the Year. There's so many damn matches. Because I believe every category got 5 noms except Match of the Year.
Yeah,
got 10,
Match
right?
of the Year had 10. Yeah.
Oh Jesus. Okay. Yeah, season 7 was nuts, and that's why I think I can say it's my favorite season. This is probably the most invested I've been in a Schmoedown season, maybe because of this show. But my God, like season 7 just ruled, and the freaking the digital age did it did a lot of good for as negative as we were about it at first, and how pessimistic we were.
We thought singles would be fine. We just didn't know how the rest of it.
Singles was gonna be fine. Everything else
we weren't sure about. So let's give ourselves the benefit of the doubt.
We were more pessimistic than optimistic. I'll say that. But let's keep going with the things. I don't want to lose any time when our
we got about 15 minutes to rifle through the last 9. So
there's 9 more categories. Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, so we'll save our thoughts for the big ones. Babyface of the Year: The Kid, Kevin Smith, Coy Jandreau, Ace, Perry.
Now, okay, before we continue, I don't want to rush through these by any means.
I know,
because some of these I will.
That's why I said the big ones. I want to be able to keep some time for. So like something like this, Babyface of the Year. Who do you got?
Can you repeat the nominations for me?
The Kid, Kevin Smith, Coy Jandreau, Ace, Perry.
Okay, this might be. God, I don't want this to sound like a consolation prize because of who I think is going to win Manager of the Year, but I think it's Coy.
See, for me, I had it as The Kid.
Wow. Okay.
So we kind of we're in the same vein because that's the manager and his player.
Yeah. Oh man, The Kid. If I were to pick one person from Shazam, I would have picked Bibbs, honestly.
Yeah, but out of he wasn't in these choices. So out of the 2 choices I was given, I went with The Kid. The tier.
What's the Kid? Oh, I was thinking Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith got nominated in this.
Yeah. The tears that The Kid shed when winning that title. That was he's been one of those guys where he's like Bibbs, but he's more okay with the character stuff. You know what I mean? Bibbs is like strictly he's there for the trivia and character stuff comes second. The Kid is like, I'm here for the trivia, but I'll do the character stuff. It's no, 1000%. And the reason why I choose Coy over The Kid and over Perry and
And you said Ace and Kevin Smith,
Yep.
right? Okay. Kevin Smith's inclusion in this, I don't want to be that guy, but sorry.
See, I think because of how just so pure and innocent his
Sure.
Besides the fact he was high as a kite in that spectacular match.
And it was probably hardcore recency bias because of spectacular, and he was visibly and he verbally said he was stoned. But Coy Jandreau had one hell of a first year to be a manager, especially in the back half. Like the first half, he had that questionable decision in the beginning of the year that really set the standard for the Corky Mercs in the first half of 2020. But the back half, oh my God, like Coy was just killing it around the board. Whether it was with Kevin Smith, whether it was with what's going on, Peggy Gubbins? Hey, we're Spin from the Real. My name's Chris. That's Matt, and we're talking some Schmoedown. And I know that you're about to be in the league or be in the draft. So what's going on, Peggy? ASC in the chat. I think the opposite. Bibbs does a character, and the kid just acts like a normal person, but he's a nice guy. Bibbs is all about the entrance and the big personality, which your boy does love.
But I think that's just Bibbs.
Sure, and that's a testament to Bibbs as a person.
Yeah.
Because the kid don't do that. But Coy, maybe it's just a cop out me picking Coy, but like the stuff that he got to do with Perry and the Witching Power this year, top of Shazam, that Kevin Smith promo before the Chris Jericho match was stellar. Probably if not one of the best promos, the best promo of the year. Like Coy Jandreau just embodies babyface to me. The day he turns heel will be a day that rocks my world. Yeah. But my God, I think Coy should get the recognition he deserves because I don't think he'll win Manager of the Year.
Yes. Peggy, by the way, if you want to come on our show at one point, go ahead and hit up me or Chris on the socials at What Movies Matt or C. Anthony Lopez, or our Spin from the Real, which is just Spin from the Real on Twitter.
Yes, at Spin from the Real. Just highlight us. Hell yeah, Peggy, come on.
So we're actually going to hit pause on these nominations, and we'll get back to them in a little bit, because one of our special guests just joined us, and he is none other than the other Dragon Con player we have coming on tonight, and that is Thomas Harper.
Hello,
Mr.
there.
Harper. What's going on, man?
Not much. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
Did you guys have Zach on earlier? Is that what I saw?
We did.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah,
Very
great guy.
good player.
Yeah, Zach he was explaining to me the whole Dragon Con thing, because to me, I was ignorant to Dragon Con. I had heard of it. The Schmoedown community definitely informed people of it, because y'all got a lot of hype behind you guys.
Sure.
And we saw you on the Ultimate Schmoedown show, and that's where I had my eye on you, and I told Matt we got to have this guy on our show. So I want to talk to him. Because I mean, honestly, Thomas, like right off the bat, like you made a great first impression, and talk about, like, I don't know if you're a wrestling fan or not, but like to me, you already have this presence that I think the Schmoedown isn't ready for, especially that Star Wars division.
Yeah,
personally,
I grew up in the '90s watching the WWF, so and I guess I guess he retired already. But The Undertaker and just his like presence, that like silent sort of foreboding presence, was always my thing.
Like the man of few words.
Yeah, I know. You know he knows what he's doing. You know he's there for business, and you know he's undefeated. I can't say that Alex and I haven't traded blows, but I think when I sit down across from somebody or on the other side of the screen while it's still virtual, they're going to know that I know my business, that I've done my homework to get there, that I'm going to know them and their weaknesses and strengths as much as I know the Star Wars stuff.
You got to respect that.
1,000%. And like talk about that presence and like that intimidation factor. Like that's what I was getting from you. I'm not saying that you're a bad guy by any means. I don't, like, this is our first time meeting,
Right.
but like you were carrying yourself in a certain way, and you just bring something different to Star Wars that this current division doesn't really have. And I'm curious into your thoughts on the division as it currently stands, because you've seen the Star Wars matches at least from this past season. I don't know if you've gone back any further, but what are your thoughts on the Star Wars division as a whole in the Schmoedown?
I think Alex's run tells you a lot about it. It's stacked with talent, but not quite the talent that's been able to bring him down. And whether that's been because it's not because he's gotten lucky, it's because he's very good. And quite frankly, Alex is a nice guy, but I don't think he's intimidated by anybody in the ranks currently. He hasn't been beaten by any of them, so why would he be? And that's not the case with me. We sit together. We have to earn a spot together on the stage every Labor Day at Dragon Con. I don't walk in there expecting anything. I walk in there having done my prep, done my homework, and at the qualifier test, it's getting enough business done so I can get on the stage. And once I'm on the stage, it's getting those questions right. And if Alex happens to be the person that's there at the end, and more often than not, he is, it's just another year. And I know that somewhere in the back of his mind, he thinks about that sort of thing because he doesn't rattle me. He's a great player. I respect the heck out of him, but I'm not going to sit there and get nervous or sweaty palms because I'm seeing him again.
See, and that's the scariest part about me as a fan watching for Alex, who's been the champ of the Star Wars division for a very long time now, and y'all coming on these shows like ours and saying, I see what Alex has done, and to be frank, that ain't shit, because you're out here bringing a whole different energy, and you're not intimidated by him like how someone who would just come in not knowing Alex, not playing against Alex before. You're like, I know this guy and I can beat him. Like we're talking with Zack, confidence. And I was just mentioning how you carry yourself. You have that confidence already that I don't think the Star Wars division's ready for.
Yeah. Well, and I don't need, I'll tell you this. I'm really excited to join the Schmoedown. I don't need to beat anybody in the ranks to know and to have confidence that I know Star Wars, right? So there's not anybody that's going to prove or disprove that in these ranks. I would challenge any Star Wars player that's in the division right now. If you think you know something about Star Wars, and I'm the last person that's going to be a gatekeeping type fan because trivia is not the measure of fandom; it's your love of the franchise. But if you like to wear that on your sleeve, if trivia is your thing, and you think you know Star Wars, and certainly Schmoedown is an insanely tough competition. That's why I'm tossing my hat in the ring. But come out to Dragon Con one time. Test your hat out in that arena and see if you survive. It's I've done that competition the last 6-7 years. I've done what I've done in that competition. I've had consistent success, and the Schmoedown is the cherry on top. And taking on Alex in this arena, in his domain, is my next Everest.
See, and that's, oh my God. And just so we can talk about your stuff at Dragon Con for a second, so we can give people a background to who you are and how you got into the position that you are, looking to get drafted in the Schmoedown in a couple of weeks. But explain to us how you got into Dragon Con and how I'm assuming you've loved Star Wars your whole life. That's the common thread between a lot of these, like people like you who live and breathe Star Wars and looking behind you.
Yeah.
And how you got into Dragon Con, and obviously your competition is playing there.
Star Wars to start was a worn out VHS tape. The tape is probably snapped at some point. I watched it and rewound it and watched it again. We're talking VHS tapes here, and a VHS tape that was bootlegged off of, I think, TBS. And nice. I joke, it had the commercials and everything. The first time I saw it as a kid, I thought that all those were part of the movie. I just didn't have enough sense to know what was what. And it wasn't until the special editions came out in '97 that I actually got to see them in theaters for the first time, which absolutely blew my mind. But the thing that got me on board trivia at a young age was the Star Wars customizable card game by a company that's now defunct, but they were called Decipher. And you can still Google that the cards are still for sale. There's actually a players committee, and it's a fairly active community that still plays this game. But it It was a typical CCG that existed at the time. Like, it came after Magic, but before Pokemon. It hit right when I was fired up and getting into Star Wars. And if you look at those cards from that set, it's got all the standard stuff you would expect for a card game. But at the very top, there's like a factual little portion. There's like a little paragraph. And for whatever the card is, whether it's a ship or a weapon or a character, there's like little factoids in it. So as a kid, I would go to the same card shop again and again. I wouldn't always have somebody to play this game against because kids my age were shifting over toward Pokemon, or the Magic community was huge. And I would just sit there and soak up these facts. And I shared on Twitter the other day that I created my own trivia like quiz, like easy, medium, hard, and very hard. And when I would want to trade cards or get a little bit of money, that's how I would do it. I would challenge other Star Wars fans to trivia, and if they could get it, then I'd give up a card of mine. If they failed, then they'd have to trade a card that they'd put up before they tried their hand at the trivia. So that sounds bratty because like it absolutely was. I wish I could go back in time and like slap myself as a kid. And if you read this thing, if you read the quiz, it's like one of the most embarrassing things that I think I have from when I was a kid. But yeah, that's where it started. Dragon Con, I got involved with a buddy of mine just randomly. I had never been to a big con before. I'd been to like tiny little local conventions at, the kind that are in like a hotel ballroom or something. So that was my concept of a convention. Nowhere near the size of like a Comic-Con or a Celebration. And he said, come on, it's Labor Day weekend. Like, what else do you have going on? We could split a hotel room. Your share is like $20. And I was like, that's cheap. I can do that. Not thinking like how many people it took to get the price down that low.
Yeah.
So I went out. I had a blast. I will talk up Dragon Con just as a convention to anybody with 2 ears. It is the best con that's out there on balance for my money, apart from Celebration, which is just its own animal. But if I had one show to go to, it'd be Dragon Con. And that year, this was like 11 years ago, they had a different iteration of the trivia competition, very, very different than what it is now. I tried my hand at it. They had this real problem because they got it down to a couple people. It was the kind of thing where like the floor is taped off into like A, B, C, D, and the crowd just moves. So they would ask the question, you would have to move. And so there was this 9-year-old kid who now runs the competition, but this 9-year-old kid who everybody was just following. Like he'd just dart to like whatever the answer was, and everybody kind of quickly picked up like, oh, that kid knows his stuff.
Yeah.
So in any event, that competition ended. They ran out the clock, and they had trouble even getting a winner because everybody was just following the leader. And so they scrapped that competition. That they were going to do no more Star Wars trivia at Dragon Con. This 9-year-old steps up and he says, hey, if you'll let me put it together, I'll run it. And ever since then, for like 11 years, he spends his entire year drafting all the questions for the quiz, the qualifier quiz, and then the final round. And it's been what it is. And I got involved again. I went on to active duty in the Army in 2011. And so there was a period there where I deployed and stuff, so I just wasn't around.
Well, thank you for your service.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But in 2013, when I got back from Afghanistan, I came back to Dragon Con that Labor Day and got my tail kicked in because at that time it was all EU. Everything was in like fair game. Some of these books I hadn't read since I was like 7, 8 years old. We're talking like, the Thrawn trilogy and Crystal Star. I mean, he was deep diving into stuff that I was completely overwhelmed. But the canon reboot in 2015 came with a reboot of the trivia competition. Yep. So that's where they wiped the slate clean to just canon material. And that's where I said, well, now's my opportunity. If ever I'm going to do trivia again and hope to not get crushed and cry about it, this is the opportunity. And so every year since then, it's still all canon. So I'm sure Zach talked about this, but it's literally everything from short stories in Star Wars Insider to the comic books, the Dark Horse Maul series that got carried over, the entirety of Clone Wars, not just the movie, Rebels, everything. And every year since 2015, that pool has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And my headache in studying has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger every year. So, but it's fun. It's a blast. It's awesome. it's a family, just like the Schmoedown certainly seems to me, at least as an outsider looking in, seems to be a family of competitors that are at each other's throats when they're in the arena, but afterward you get a beer together, and that's what I have with Dragon Con. It's been amazing over the last 6 years or so. That's what I hope to accomplish in Schmoedown, whether I get the chance to challenge Alex or not.
Well, I do want to bring up this comment because after talking to you for just a little bit, it's true. We had Taylor Cleek in the chat say, Thomas is a stone cold Star Wars killer. No nonsense at all. And this is someone who doesn't know you, and I know that for a fact. And he's just like, wow.
That's what I'm saying. Like, my man's coming out stone cold. Like, stone cold. I mean, if you could, pound beers like that, like our man used to do it. But what I'm curious in is, like, yeah, you know Zach, who's on our show earlier,
right.
And you're familiar with Alex. From what I understand, you're not the only person coming in from Dragon Con, going into the Star Wars draft. That's if you've seen all of these Star Wars competitors, or if you even know them. Is there anyone that you're joining in the draft that you're like, they're gonna be like, I can't wait to play them if I can. Like, aside from Alex.
I'm telling you right now that if I'm a manager, if you're a manager that's out there looking and you want somebody from a knowledge standpoint, somebody that's going to come in and be able to compete day one, competition one, against anybody top to bottom in the Star Wars division, it's the three of us. And I say that with a little bit of bias because I know Marie and I know Zach, but I know them as competitors. We're not out there like crushing beers together. I get to go into the arena against them every year, and I'm telling you, every single year, I walk into that qualifier quiz, and I know 3 seats are already taken in the final 10, and that's Marie, Zach, and Alex, assuming that all 3 of them are at the convention. And that's no small feat. If you took the Dragon Con quiz, the qualifier quiz that was actually put out to the public for the first time ever this year, you see this sort of insanity that we deal with just to get a seat at the table, just to get to the starting line. And the quiz was administered this year, and I think 8,000 people took it, something like that. And the average, with that many people taking it, with that much skill that's out there, everybody from Star Wars theory to your grandmother able to take it, the average correct was 22 out of 50, and that's multiple choice. So the correct answer is right there staring at you on the page.
Oh God.
22 out of 50. And I bring that up because that, walking in and knowing that those 3 are locks, obviously Alex has his rep in the Schmoedown, but knowing that those other 2 are locks, that's no small feat. And the 2 of them have also won, and I would characterize, much like the Schmoedown championship, I would characterize the Dragon Con championship the same way. They're both like the Super Bowl. Obviously, Alex has had a run sort of like the 2002 to 2019 Patriots. He's been very, very successful and very, very dominant. But Dragon Con, there's a reason he's only won it once. There's a reason that I'm the only competitor since the canon reboot that's repeated and defended my title.
Nice.
Because it's that hard. It's because the competition is that stiff. And I'm going to tell you right now that if you're also looking at players that can stand sort of the bright lights test, it's the 3 of us as well. And I say that because every year all 10 of us have to sit on stage, facing down. The crowd is one thing, right? You have a couple hundred people that's in the crowd. That's all fine and good. I don't think that rattles any of us. The thing about it is you're also staring down 9 other people, and this is the thing that I think can rattle lots of people, even folks that know Star Wars really well. They're staring down 9 other people, folks that you're familiar with, that you see year in and year out, and you know that they came locked and loaded. That's the intimidation factor, and that's what any one of the 3 of us represent and can bring to your team if you draft us and put us up there. And I have to think that, I know how Alex thinks and the sort of competition, how he views competition, but I have to think if you're a player in the Star Wars division that has not been to Dragon Con, that has not experienced it, maybe you skipped out on the quiz, maybe you haven't watched what we went through with this live stream final in 2020, I think you're justifiably nervous coming in knowing that in that competition every year, I know the level of detail of Schmoedown type questions for everything, right? And now I have to know 12 movies if you count the Clone Wars as a movie. So my focus has really narrowed now. And obviously the Schmoedown questions are a lot different. They're asked differently. They really take a different perspective on some things, which I really like. It's a neat challenge to try to tackle. But I'm not worried about what the plot from the Thrawn novel is. I'm not worried about the story beat from the Bounty Hunters comic miniseries. I'm not worried about what the short story, the latest short story from Star Wars Insider is. I don't have to expend brain power keeping that in my head. It's all movies.
And that's something that. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, see, you said something that maybe you talked about. You defended your title,
right?
And I think that's something we should talk about with all the Star Wars competitors, especially you three DragonCon players who have beaten Alex at some point in time. And that's the fact that if you make it through this season and you were to beat him, you have to reface him basically right away. He's defended for so long that he has an automatic rematch. Do you think you'd be able to beat him twice in a row if that were you?
I've done it before. Yeah. So.
Damn! Say it.
I mean, he knows it. I know it. It's happened before. It's not like lightning. We're not talking about a lightning strike here that you'd be amazed if it happened again. The challenge is, we're like the Batman and Joker, right? We go at it every year, and I come locked and loaded. And my measure of success, if I lose, I better damn well just not know the question at all. It better just be something that was a complete, unforeseen thing, because I'm not going to lose on a question that I ought to know. That's happened to me one time in 6 years at DragonCon, and I'll never forget that question. So,
if you don't mind me asking,
it was who was the senator for representing Naboo in 32 BBY, and I wrote Bail Antilles, which is the correct answer on my whiteboard, and then second guessed myself and wiped it out and wrote Bail Organa, which is not correct. And so I got out. The very next question was who's the Twi'lek in the Max Rebo band, which is Lin May. And that's the question that Zach won on in 2019. And I knew that. I sat down.
That was the one he was just telling us about. Actually.
Yeah, I sat down. I was like, I know the answer to that question. Who knows where things would have gone from there? Because it's all, and that's the thing that's very different about DragonCon that I've said before, that unlike the Schmoedown where you can build a lead, pad a lead, and TKO somebody or KO somebody if you get out ahead enough, which is the way I think a trivia competition should be run. That's not the case at DragonCon. It is survive and advanced in its purest sense. So the first round is 15 questions, A/B multiple choice. The typical average, because I insanely keep track of these stats year in and year out. You'll see me, like, if you ever come to DragonCon, I'm scribbling furiously during the match, and that's me keeping stats because I have all these like hand scrawled notes. Average number that you can get wrong to advance to the second round is 1 out of 15. Then they cut it down to 5 people, so half the people drop off, and then it's down to just whiteboards, right? You get another 15 question round where you're identifying whatever comes up on the screen, characters, ships, planets, whatever insanity is up there. Then no matter what kind of lead you have there, and I had this year is a great example. I had a lead going into the finals to the sudden death round. It turns into a 3-way with the top 3 scorers out of the second round, but all that's wiped clean. You go in with no advantage. It's pure and total sudden death, which is awesome, but also really nerve-wracking at the same time. Mm-hmm. And they may change the format. We kind of toyed with a double elimination format that didn't really work out this year, but that's the difference. There's nothing. You're earning yourself a spot in the next round, and that's it. And so I like the ability in the Schmoedown that if I am legitimately out answering my opponent, the game's either going to be over, it's going to be called, or I'm going to build a lead and seal it. So I like that format.
I respect that.
Oh my God! Just look. So I mean, Matt's the resident Star Wars guy out of the two of us. But out of everything you just said, like I maybe understood two of those things, and I've seen all the movies. Like, and I like Star Wars a lot.
Right.
But but the Star Wars division and the Schmoedown, like there's a level of quality you have to meet. And Matt and I we talked about this earlier, where this past season I should say, it hit a whole new gear.
Yes, it
like
did.
you have to know, not like you can know Star Wars, but you have to know Star Wars. And the Star Wars tournament from this past year was our first inkling of that. Because those are the first bunch of Star Wars matches that we got all within the same month. Yeah. And I'm curious, did you watch the tournament? And I don't know when you first found the Schmoedown, if you've seen Alex compete in it over the years, but the Star Wars tournament from this past season, to be exact, did you keep up with it? Did you watch it? Did anything stick out to you in regards to competitors or questions? Or I would just love your thoughts on the tournament.
I really loved it. And I've said this elsewhere, but credit to the entire production team for being able to pivot on the fly and take what I can only assume was planned to be a live tournament in some capacity and deliver the production value and the quality that they delivered in an all virtual format. I was hooked all summer long. That was my thing. And there was a moment that stood out to me. You're absolutely right. The quality there was amazing. I think if I viewed this competition, and I think this is probably true for all the Star Wars division players, if this were just some sort of like bar trivia type competition that wasn't really all that serious and the questions were whatever in terms of difficulty, I don't know that you would be getting that much interest from some of the folks that spend their time and dedicate themselves to this. I don't know that I would be interested in it, but that's not it. And this tournament proved exactly what the point you're making in terms of the next level, that not just the questions have gotten to, but that the competition has gotten to as well. There's talk that folks are treating this as a sport, and I saw that in this tournament full on. And there was a moment, and I'm trying to think, I think it was Laura Kelly's match against Andres. He got a question from The Last Jedi asking him
citation.
Yeah, the 12/B/6. And that quote, the citation number is a reference to a Terry Gilliam movie. Even knowing that, you would have to have a pretty deep cut knowledge, but just to be able to recite, because that's like the most inane of, that's not like 3,720 to 1, in the asteroid field scene in Empire Strikes Back, where it just kind of sticks with you. You've got to be paying attention and doing your homework to know an answer like that. And he rattled it off like that, and he kind of he did this like kick back in his chair, like he knew he had it right. And so I respect that level of prep and that level of talent.
I mean, I was in the backstage of the Ultimate Schmoedown show last Friday when you were there, and I was awestruck then, and I continue to be awestruck now, because it's very rare that you get competitors like this. Especially, I know personally, I've been a huge proponent of the Star Wars division. Like the match where Chris and I met at was the Scrimshaw Damon championship match in Chicago. Like we were in the stands. We got to high five Alex as he came down the aisle. Like, that match has stuck with me, and just hearing you just talk about Star Wars, I'm just like, yeah, this guy's going to be trouble.
I was there as well, somewhere else in the car. I probably walked right by you guys, high-fiving. But as a funny story, and I hope, I don't tell this to in a negative way. So I hope if Alex listens to this, he doesn't take it that way. It just kind of shows the mutual respect that we have for each other. I went out after he defended his title and sealed it. He came out into the lobby area, and the first thing he does is he comes up to me. He's like, "How many did you get wrong?" And then we kind of talked. It was just like Dragon Con when we exit, especially after the qualifier quiz. It's like every single year there's this moment where we come out, we take a breath, and then we kind of compare notes. And it was just sort of a fun moment like that. But that's Alex and I. So he's not going to be. He's sort of the pinnacle of the mountain. I recognize I've got a long path to get through to starting with the draft. I've got to get onto a team, and hopefully somebody will pick me up. And then it's proving myself after that point, because quite honestly, I recognize, just like if somebody came to DragonCon and said, hey, I know a lot about Star Wars and I've done this, that, and the other, I'd be like, okay, well, cool. Well, good luck. If I'm a Star Wars Division player, I'm saying the same thing. I'm like, well, great, DragonCon, cool. That's awesome. You haven't won a match here. And I understand that point. I'd be saying the same thing to me if I came in. And so I recognize that, but for the other competitors out there, for the managers out there, nothing's a given. And my entire trivia life has been based around getting one shot every year. And I take that seriously. So I may only get one shot this year in the Schmoedown. We'll see. But my mindset is going to be like that every single time, that it might be my last. And I'm going to give it my all. So when I sit down, whether it's through the computer or, facing somebody in a stool, I'm going to come locked and loaded.
See, I'm the resident Star Wars geek on this channel, and you're making me question how much I know.
I say all that because it's what I hate, and what I'm so embarrassed about in that quiz is like, it's fun to know that stuff. I really like, and I'm sure you're the same way, Matt, that being the guy in your circle of friends that people are going to with like the nerdy question, like when the Darksaber gets broken out at the end of the season 1 of Mandalorian, people are like, what the hell was that? Can you please explain this to me?
That's him, and that's my parents.
Yeah, so I like that, but at the same time, I recognize that like it has its sort of corner, and for folks that are out there, be a fan of this stuff. I love trivia. I love like sort of flexing my trivia muscles, but at the same time, it's not a bar to entry. So you're not less of a Star Wars fan because you can't name all the droids, in Jabba's palace, or you can't name the nighttime bartender at the cantina in Mos Eisley. That's just, I call it like a sickness is what it is, honestly. But it certainly doesn't make me any better a fan or any bigger a fan than anybody else. That's for sure.
As someone who's similar, I say that's a gift. Don't call it a sickness. We do have a comment from in the chat, and that's Leo Logan. And it's, who would you like to play let's say for your first match? Add on to that, should you be picked?
Who would I like to play for, or who would I like to play against, or both?
Who would you like to play against for your first match? Your first match, it could be a competitor that isn't Alex right now because he is the champ.
Yeah.
Or
one of
no
these
doubt rookies.
I really like it would be really, I would say it'd be really, really fun to face off against either the DragonCon rookies, but I honestly want to get them. I see them every year. So as fun as it would be to see a friendly face, and that would, I think, lessen a lot of the nerves, they deserve their shot against somebody else in the division. I want to go against Laura. She is a proven commodity. She is white hot when it comes to her knowledge of Star Wars. She is one, I like to say, strength recognizes strength. She doesn't mess around, and when she sort of locks in, you better be ready. And for my time, for my money, she's the competitor that I want to sit down and face and test myself against.
Fair enough. And this is a question I got to ask. From collector to collector, what's your favorite piece that you own?
Probably the Vader choking Antilles over my shoulder. That was one of the first non-action figure pieces that I got.
This is my current.
I like it.
Episode 9 saber.
Very, very nice. Is that Gideon over your shoulder? I see.
Yeah, I got I'm a big Black Series collector. I primarily do Black Series and prop replicas. I have about 13 lightsabers, over 100 Black Series figures, and
very, very cool. Yeah, so we'll see. Well, I will take any match that I get. That would be a fun one. Laura and I sort of are digital friends. I saw her. I met her kind of for the first time at the celebration, or at the Schmoedown in Celebration in 2019. She like wiped the floor clean at that their actual panel event. The qualifier did just astoundingly well. So that would be an awesome opportunity, win, lose, or draw.
And see, that was another question I have for you. You brought up DragonCon. You're on that stage. If you were at like a Celebration qualifier event, it'd basically be the same situation. I mean, we had the qualifier event this past Celebration. We had the one in Orlando, which led to which actually that was a title match, if I remember correctly, Chris. That was when Ken Knapsack won the title.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Which I can correct this if we're wrong, but yeah.
So, even in a situation like that, you're still primarily in your comfort zone because you've been in a stick situation with Dragon Con.
Yeah, and on top of that, I've presented panels. Some folks out there might have sat in one of my panels at Celebration. The last two celebrations at 2019 in Chicago and 2017 in Orlando, I moderated 2 panels on the military of Star Wars. Both panels packed the rooms. In fact, the 2017 panel was up at the same time slot as the Marquee Last Jedi panel where they had the trailer reveal, and we still packed out the room and had standing room only. So that was about like 600-700 people all told. And I'm a trial lawyer by trade, right? I was still am a military lawyer. My whole goal is to stand in front of 12 jurors and make a case and know my stuff. And I'm telling you, the measure for success in that arena, and when you're going up against attorneys or military attorneys that are equally as good as you are, if not better, it's knowing your stuff. It's the work. You got to outwork your opponent, and that wins. I mean, it's no different than any sport. But there was never a court-martial that I stepped into in the courtroom where I wasn't more prepared than my opponent. And I treat Star Wars trivia and the Schmoedown no differently. And certainly the stakes are very different in this arena. So this is just fun for me.
Chris is over here flattering.
Oh my God, you're a lawyer, and oh my God. No, but two questions. One, who is the nighttime bartender at the Mos Eisley Cantina?
It's Akmina.
Akmina. Okay, great.
Yeah,
of course.
She's you actually see her. She doesn't appear in person anywhere, but she's sort of recanonized in the From a Certain Point of View book, the short stories from A New Hope. She's actually like running a grift, like skimming profits off the top, because it's folks might not know, Wooer, the bartender during the daytime that you see in A New Hope, does not own the cantina. It's actually owned by a Wookiee named Chalman. It's a common misconception. Wooer's just he's just there making his own money and trying not to he also has PTSD from droids, so that's why he throws 3PO and R2D. Yep. So anyhow.
He met her for the first time when we watched the holiday special for a watch along.
That was her?
That's it.
Oh,
the
God.
Played her?
Yep.
Yo, oh my God.
I'm sorry that you had to sit through all that.
Hey,
no, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate
it. He actually somewhat enjoyed it. He did say
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I was pitching how you could redo it in 2021. But but my other question was in the Schmoedown draft list, at least the one that Christian announced, that you had your name on it amongst so many others. Mm-hmm. The Star Wars players, it was more than how many we already had in the division last year. So the division will almost double, presumably, depending on how many people are drafted. The division will almost double going into next season. And a lot of the hype from the manager talk and all the dirt sheets of the movie trivia Schmoedown, they're talking about how crucial Star Wars will be next season. And for you just say you only play once a year, at least at Dragon Con. Now, you may be playing 4, 5, 6 more matches more than that this year. So is that something that you're mentally prepared for, or is that something you're more than willing to do? Because that's a lot of matches, more so than your one at Dragon Con every year.
Yeah, I think that goes to prep, and that goes to I like to liken a trivia match to like a boxing match, right? The fighter gets in shape for a fight. When you're talking about multiple matches a year, I look at that as scale, not a difference in the challenge, right? So I'm scaling my efforts, and that becomes a matter of instead of getting ready for one fight a year, I just stay ready for the next fight. And with the baseline knowledge that I have, especially when we're cutting down to the movies, it's difficult. If we were talking about this being an all canon competition, that'd be tough. I don't know that anybody except for Alex could keep up, and I say that because Star Wars is his job, right? His job is to keep up with the materials, but with the pace that everything is coming out at, it'd be difficult to get on top of everything. But Schmoedown's not Dragon Con, Schmoedown's not all canon, and so I think it is a very differently manageable task. And I have a baseline. I don't know what these other players, the non-Dragon Con players, have done in the past. I know some of them have good trivia creds and whatnot, but I don't know what their experience is in terms of getting ready and staying ready for stuff like that. Certainly I have my method, and it's just a matter of continuing that and scaling it to meet whatever number of matches are through the year.
Well, I know I have 2 questions for you before we start to let you go. Chris, do you have any?
Yeah. No, please go ahead.
All right. So my first question is for you, and these are non-Schmoedown related questions. So first question is, have you started reading the new canon book yet?
Yes, I have. Slowly, but yes.
How is it? Because mine's on order from Amazon.
I really, really like it. Sewell, if you've read Charles Sewell before, I haven't read any of his novels before, but he penned the Rise of Kylo Ren, like 5-issue comic series. And that was great. I really, really liked his run of Vader comics. That story, that 25-issue arc is just...
He was the rise of, like, from end of Return of the Jedi, end of Revenge of the Sith on, right?
Yeah, so he did... the one where it starts out and he's basically got to create his lightsaber and go hunt it down.
Have that one. Love it.
Master Kirak Infila on Mount Passfall, taking the Barash vow. See, I don't have to know those things. I'm unburdened when I come into this competition.
You couldn't help yourself either.
That's like, your brain. I would suspect you get anybody that does it. Alex would say the same thing. Your brain operates and it starts activating like linkages and gateways, and it just the dots get connected. Like I said, it's a sickness, so it's probably diagnosable.
I gotta respect that, and we asked Zach this, so I do want to ask this. What is your favorite Star Wars film? Not best, but your favorite.
I always answer this with a caveat. As a kid, hands down, Return of the Jedi. I just could not. I still can't get enough of the Battle of Endor. It's just, I don't know. I would recreate that movie with my Legos and my action figures like again and again. But as I grew older, I gravitated more toward Empire Strikes Back. For my money, there's no better battle scene than the Battle of Hoth as I view it now, even though I can't understand why the Empire didn't come with close air support. It's another talk. But that's probably General Veers being cocky. He didn't need it. But no, those two, I like to say that I don't really like ranking favorite movies. Like, that's absolutely my favorite. But the way I view the Star Wars movies is, if you're telling me, Thomas, you've got 2 hours to watch a Star Wars movie, my ranking is what am I likely to pick off the shelf or to click on Disney Plus more often than not. And those two, Empire and Jedi, are right at the top.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So, okay, third question. Do you watch the despecialized editions at all?
The what now?
Despecialized editions, the closest thing you can get to the theatrical cuts?
I have my original VHSs from the theatrical cuts, and we have an old VHS player. So I will say I have a different view on the theatrical cuts entirely. I think because my entire life as a kid was watching these movies slowly change. But case in point, and my bottom line view is that on balance, I like the changes. There are some here and there that I'm, Vader yelling no and some things like that I could do without. But on balance, I just go back to like when I was a kid. I remember having seen A New Hope, and just when the Battle of Yavin starts, the fighters just launch, and it's just like dots of light going up from base 1 there on Yavin to 97, and seeing in the theater the special edition and seeing actual X-wings and Y-wings like lift off out of the hangar, and I was just blown away. I was enthralled. I was in love. I've always been a fleet junkie, so I'm all into the whether it's starfighters or capital ships. So for me, those movies made special edition for good, bad, or otherwise just poured kerosene on my like fire for Star Wars. So that sort of nostalgic value will always be deep seated in me. And as they continue tinkering and messing with stuff, you know, I'll shrug and roll my eyes at certain stuff, but on balance, I like the changes.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, Thomas, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. This has been a blast.
And if we bring our Star Wars show back, I would love to have you on to talk.
We'll chat up High Republic, whatever you guys want.
Oh yeah, brother. Well, thank you. Is there anything that you'd want to say, like social medias, anything that you got going on? Want to tell the people what you got going on?
Yeah, two things. So you can follow me on Twitter at Thomas L. Harper. That's L as in Lee. So it's a very, very creative Twitter handle. And then I have a new podcast that I'm a part of, a very small part of, that I think a lot of the listeners might find interesting. It's called The Joint Geeks of Staff, sort of like the Joint Chiefs of Staff, but geeks. And it's a collection of national security professionals. We've got a State Department Foreign Service officer. We've got an F-15 Strike Eagle weapons system officer with like 1,500 hours combat time in the cockpit. We've got professors from West Point and the Naval Academy. And we all get together and talk like deep dive, like in canon nerdy issues that sort of intersect the boundary between like warfare, diplomacy, and science fiction. So our first episode debuted on New Year's Day, and it was deep diving the New Republic and Imperial Remnant, and sort of like where those forces are, how the New Republic went from an insurgency suddenly to claiming legitimacy as a government and trying to corral this crazy big galaxy. And so it's a fun podcast. We did a Star Trek Discovery episode as our second episode, and I'm about to record another one tonight.
Oh, you're a Discovery fan, thank God.
we're going to talk tonight about the Capitol riots or the Capitol riot, and it's sort of some science fiction perspective on that and how that interplays. But it's a lot of fun. It's one of those podcasts where I know I sit and record and just like shut up and listen to some of these folks talk, because they're just so interesting, and we're all huge nerds. I mean, that's the bottom line with this show. It's just getting to listen to folks that think just like you do. We just happen to work in warfare in some capacity or diplomacy, and so it's sort of like a little bit of an expert opinion on a lot of these things, and might make you go back and watch some of these shows or movies a little differently. So anyhow, it's at The Joint Geeks on Twitter, and hit me up on Twitter if you need help finding it. I'm happy to. But thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got a new fan. I'll tell you this. I'm rooting for you.
I got to prove it now. All the expectations are up. I can't fall flat on my face.
See, you're in a similar situation to a friend of the show, The Rager, to where now you're becoming one of these hype rookies.
No pressure.
Yeah, I know if I suck, you just back and delete this episode. Like, we never had it.
No, we don't do that. We like to go back and mention episodes. But again, thank you for coming on.
Well, thanks, guys. Let me know if you ever need help on the show again. I'm happy to come on.
All right.
Hell yeah, brother.
Bye.
Have a good one, sir.
Have a good one.
I'm so Harper, everyone. Woo! That was a great show.
Great chat. Great chat.
Because we still got more of this.
We're not done. We're not done.
We still got a few categories to talk about, but before we get to those,
not done yet.
We have our last guest of the night, and that is going to be a competitor in the Inner Geekdom division.
Let's do it.
That is Jesse Sweep Swift. How you doing, Jesse?
Hey guys, Matt, Chris, how's it going?
What's going on, man?
First of all, I was there for that whole thing. Hot damn.
Yeah. Sorry for making you wait. But he was educating us on Star Wars, and Matt's out here with his helmets on the shelf, and he was like,
I gotta ask Chris after watching that. Are you good, bro? Because I think I felt I saw your spirit leave your body about different times in the last hour.
I mean, talking to Zach earlier, it was a nice taste into what we're gonna get with the other Dragon Con player that we're gonna have on today. We're gonna have Marie on next week, so she's really just gonna hit us over the head with all the Star Wars stuff. But no, I'm just overwhelmed. But now, hopefully, we can lay off the Star Wars for a second, because we got an Inner Geekdom player coming in.
I gotta ask, how many people do you think that their name popped up on the draft with SW next to it? How many of them are trying to retract their auditions. I'm here like, I'm not about this. Like, no.
I'm here because I know Tom's been on quite a few shows now, and I'm just like, yeah, I would.
That's a problem.
Good luck. Like, good luck to anyone who can play him.
Even talking to Zack earlier, I felt the same way because I'm like, he knows his stuff, and then Tom, I'm like, he really knows his stuff.
Dude, I think Thomas knows more about Star Wars than George Lucas does.
Yeah, no, seriously, yeah, like
no exaggeration. I'd love to see like him and Dave Filoni go head to head on Star Wars geek trivia and stuff. That'd be a match to see.
I think Christian would lose his mind if Dave Filoni's like, yeah, I want to do that.
Oh, dude, the table would rise 6 inches, to guaranteed. Absolutely. I gotta say, with all the respect to the vets and everybody that's in the Inner Geekdom this year and last, and with some of the new guys like you brought up, the Rager, I'm looking forward to the competition and to some of the challenges and stuff. But I'm not scared like I would be looking down the barrel of the Dragon Con guys. There's no way in hell.
I can understand that because
Star Wars is a whole different breed. I think it's a whole different breed. It's the hardest division.
League because that's the league outside of Inner Geekdom. Inner Geekdom is definitely second hardest, where you need those minute details. And you're going into that. You're going into one of those leagues. So, like, how's that making you feel?
It's so what? Because I'm wondering how many different writers they have on these questions, right? Because I'm wondering.
A few. It's a couple.
What's that?
I think
there's a couple.
3 or 4. So you got to think the people that are writing these questions for the Star Wars division, are some of those going to bleed over into Inner Geekdom? Just because they're getting so used to looking this hard into Star Wars that they just accidentally slip 1 or 2.
Probably some of the easier ones are going to slip in there.
I gotta hope.
whatever the hell easy is in Star Wars.
Those have the weapons and whatnot category.
Yeah,
I think that'll bleed over a little bit. And then there's the Star Wars slice. So,
well, I'm looking like one of the reasons I love Inner Geekdom so much is you get so many different characters and you get so many different specialties. Like everyone's got like their couple slices that are their expertise, and then everything else they gotta educate themselves on. Star Wars, you don't have a freaking choice. Like you have to be all in on every second of every detail to the point where it sounds like you're just making shit up half the time. Now, I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys can swear on here. I don't know. Everyone's got different policies.
Go ahead.
No, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, but like Star Wars it's definitely gonna be rough for Inner Geekdom players. But really, Inner Geekdom, since it's bleeding into singles and teams this upcoming season, now they're gonna have to worry about that as well because we're getting the genre, the geek specific categories bleeding into those too. So it's a similar struggle, not as crazy as Star Wars, but still a similar struggle.
Well, I have something for you guys. Maybe I don't know if you had heard this specifically, or if you watched the last episode of Call to Action that I was on. But I heard from one of the faction members that I have been in talks with. They told me that 100 movies are being added to the Inner Geekdom.
So we're getting 400 movies in Inner Geekdom instead of 300. That's great. So
yeah, he said it's like a 50% increase from past seasons.
So I'll say this. The reason I think Inner Geekdom is only the second hardest is sure you need those minute details, but you know they're only going from these 400 movies. For singles and teams, though, you don't know. It's everything's game.
It's cinema.
Yeah.
Which is wild. But I think that you get it kind of varies. I think you get away with the occasional vague plot or like who starred in this movie and stuff like that. Whereas, Inner Geek, this is an easier question, but you get questions along the lines of what does the L in SHIELD stand for? You're not going to get the equivalent to that in a singles or a team division question, I don't think. Does that make sense?
No, maybe not to start.
I'm not saying one's more difficult than the other, but I'm just saying that that's the one is way more wide, and you got to know a little about more things. Whereas Inner Geekdom, you got to know way more about fewer things.
1,000%.
Not one's one over the other. I mad respect to the Merles of the league. But as much as I would I love to talk more Star Wars and Inner Geekdom. Like I want to talk about you. I was sitting here for 30 minutes just building up like all the things. I'm like, damn.
Oh no!
I can talk about Star Wars. I can talk about Thomas. So I hope to see more of them.
You, Jesse. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about and what you're going to be doing in this league.
Because we see
a lot of
got
shit
going on.
because that's what I'm working on right now.
See, and I want to start with, I mean, the most basic of basic questions. How did you find the Schmoedown, or did the Schmoedown find you?
I mean, I guess you could always say a bit of both in the words of Star-Lord. I came across the Schmoedown, time's all relative, especially with the decade this last year has been. But I want to say it was about 6-7 years ago when John Campea and Harloff and the gang were all hosting AMC Movie Talk. And something I didn't mention on some of my last appearances that I really should is not that it's gone to the successful level like you guys or the Schmoedown or like SEN, but watching the AMC Movie Talk and Collider Movie Talk is what inspired me to want to get into podcasting, to want to start getting, the lights and the green screen and the microphone, which apparently I need a better GPU or something, but it works on Zoom, so I'm working with it. It works with my podcast. Anyways, and of course, you start getting into Schmoeville and the Schmoes Know and getting into all that stuff. And then that bleeds into the Schmoedown. And once I started watching the Schmoedown, I just could not stop. And I was challenging myself with some of the movie trivia. I was like, this is fun. I'm not great at the generic stuff, but then I started finding the inner geekdom matches. And I'm like, oh, I can hold my own with this. And there'd be a lot of times where I would just take out a piece of paper and a pen and make little ticks. And of course, when I got to round 2, I'd split off and I'd play both competitors, right? Play myself against both of them.
As you should.
Where I got more points at the end. But there's a lot of times where I was number 1. I was like, these guys have been doing it and they've been studying for weeks. I'm going off of base knowledge. This is with no studying, no extra work or anything like that.
Word. So you're an OG. You're Schmoedown OG. Like
yes.
You've like the Collider. I shouldn't say Collider. The like the the Collider era. 'Cause a lot of people found Schmoedown when they went to Collider because of the platform. But you were watching
things.
Yeah, and you were obviously before all that crazy stuff happened. But Inner Geekdom, I don't want to give away your strengths or anything. Like just in case you do go into the league, I don't want to expose you already. But your love of this geekier stuff, because I mean Matt and I we definitely represent different facets of fandoms. But like, what about yourself? Like, was this something that you were raised doing? Like you were watching all this geeky stuff. You were watching Power Rangers. You were watching Ninja Turtles. Like all this crazy stuff. Like, is that what you were doing?
Oh yeah, a little bit of all of that. And not to throw any of my family members under the bus or anything, but I could say that. Hang on. Speaking of comic inspired things, this is Goose, named after
Goose. Yeah.
But I'm a little bit of the black sheep, not in that I'm neglected or anything like that, but it's just that I'm the one in my family, Mm-hmm. So a lot of times I get things that are really bottled up, and all I do is I go onto podcasts and I go on these news sites and things and get into the forums and just get really involved in geek culture because I don't have as many people to talk about it. Now, lucky for me, I've been blessed that a beautiful and wonderful lady came into my life and we are now engaged, and she has become my best friend, especially when it comes to talking geek culture and stuff like that. So we just Marvel, Star Wars. Her dad is a huge Star Trek nut. She loves Lord of the Rings. And I'll just, without saying what my strengths and weaknesses are, I'll say that what I am weaker in, I am surrounded by people that are very proficient in it. So even without getting into the factions, like I have a tremendous wealth of knowledge around me that I can pull from.
See, and before Goose just breaks down your whole setup,
the whole time Thomas was on, he was like not interested, and now he's just all over the table and behind it. So we're doing our best.
Oh.
Yeah, it's because you're on. That's why. But
very excited.
You've been watching Schmoedown for a long time now, and I'm curious in your 2 cents between how Inner Geekdom's played now and how it used to be played. Example. Chandru's your champion, and how Inner Geekdom's viewed now, and compared to a person like Hector Navarro or Robert Meyer Burnett, and how Inner Geekdom was played then. And you saw that. You're watching it, and you watch them pan out. Like, I'm curious in your 2 cents on how the divisions play between now and then.
I'm very interested, and it's clear that Inner Geekdom kind of started out as this idea to kind of test the nerd grounds of like the friends of the Schmoedown and see what their base knowledge was in those categories and stuff. And once you realize that people like Hector Navarro and Jason Inman. So we're here to F around. They had to start making the questions a lot harder. Like I said on one of the last shows that I've watched all the Inner Geekdom matches that are available or listened to them on podcasts like 4 or 5 times a piece. And one that sticks with me is Jeremy Johns. He's up from my area, up in Washington. So he's a little bit of a hero and inspiration to me. But I love watching that match between him and Robert Burnett, except for I think it's maybe second or third question in the first round. It says, what is the name of the second Harry Potter? And I said, get the hell out of here with that question. That is the most basic garbage I've ever heard.
Because that would never happen in the Schmoedown now. Like they're not going to ask.
No
yeah, There's like that's especially with like in championship matches. Lord Jesus, like you're getting plot questions in your first round.
Oh, So I had a little bit of an awakening. Like I'm still ready to get raw with the Inner Geekdom, but I was watching all the matches this season, and then I didn't get to Spectacular right when it dropped. So when they released to the public the Chandru and Ellison match, holy shit,
right?
I was like, so I mean, I think with some studying and having a faction behind me, easy, I got it in the bag. But just from a sidelines on the bench viewer watching this things and the speed round, Ellison on the speed round. I mean, Chandru won obviously, but I think the most impressive part of that whole match was Ellison on the speed round. Just there was like no thought to it. He didn't have to think about it. Everything he knew without hesitation.
The Spectacular matchup, Change might have come out on top, but it's two of the pillars of Inner Geekdom right now because Kevin Smets isn't around for now, and we will inevitably wait for his return because he will come back with a vengeance.
Oh, I'll say right now, he's challenged me. He said he hopes to see me next year in 2022.
Yeah, on your video earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
He's like, I like this guy. I like this guy.
Yes,
I thought
high
praise
terms. That's what I said. I said that is smashing
high praise.
1,000%. What's that?
Well, 1,000%. That's one hell of an endorsement from Kevin Smith.
Yeah, it went from compliments to a challenge, and I said, "Let's go." I'm so ready and waiting for Schmetz, but I got to get through the garbage of this year first.
See, and speaking of, 2020 was just a year, right? It's something we will hope to forget about one day, and we all grow from it. But something that did grow exponentially, especially in the Schmoedown, was the competition in Inner Geekdom. We were talking about how Inner Geekdom was first round. What's the title of the second Harry Potter movie? It's like, come on. This past Inner Geekdom tournament, not only did it up the competition, but it upped the competitors within the division. Because for a while it was Cushing, Kalinowski, Smets, Mara. Like there were a lot of you knew who was championship caliber. But now this time around,
like 6 people that they just juggled around.
Exactly, and this Inner Geekdom tournament from this past season that was all digital, we saw Inner Geekdom is no joke, and if you prep for how you mentioned for Chandru and Ellison, if you had the right faction behind you, if you were to study even more so than you already do, then all right, then that's your match. But this past tournament proved that, and I want your 2 cents on the tournament because I thought that tournament ruled. It's one of my favorite things of this past season, and I'm
glad to hear that.
Yeah, Inner Geekdom is my favorite division, and I love to watch people compete in it. Which when I found out you were doing Inner Geekdom, I'm like, hell yeah, brother, let's talk some Inner Geekdom.
Well, then
but this tournament was a pillar of this past season.
I want to ask you specifically because Matt, I know you're a huge Star Wars nut, so you probably lean a little bit on the Star Wars division, I imagine.
No, I'm actually an overall movie nut.
Well, that's fantastic, and I'm really jealous of all the knowledge you have in your bag for Star Wars. But with Inner Geekdom, what I want to say is just from listening to Backstage and listening to as many of the after shows as I've been able to these last few weeks, there's just this general consensus that everyone's like, oh, because of the Dragon Con guys and Alex Damon as champion stuff, this is the year of the Star Wars division. And then people just keep with respect poo-pooing on the Inner Geekdom division. And I got to say, hoping to come into it this year, I take a little bit of offense to that, and I want to know what you guys think. I know you're interviewing me, but I want to get more of a consensus with some of the other guys that we have out here.
Christian did go on backstage and he said that Star Wars, I'm pretty sure he's the one that's spearheading that movement, or Star Wars will be like the division to watch going into next season because of the lack of team. Star Wars will step up, and Inner Geekdom will still be Inner Geekdom. And as the division stands right now, Chandru is looking to be untouchable. And Chance, who had himself one hell of a 2020, we saw how spectacular panned out. Granted, my man's going to come back like a ball of fire, but still, Chandru's no slouch, and he's the spearhead for this new Inner Geekdom that's being played right now. I don't like the idea of giving Inner Geekdom the shaft. Inner Geekdom, to me, has been the most entertaining division of the last few years, especially when the Cushings and the Kalinowskis were carrying like story and engaging matches, and then Mara showed up, and then Smets showed up, and everything changed. Chandru showed up. And before this past Star Wars tournament, like I wasn't too high on the division itself, if I'm being honest. And Matt is my witness, and I've done a complete 180 on it now. But with Inner Geekdom, like this is the most entertaining division to watch, and the Schmoedown knew that for years.
And 100%. And from my perspective, at least, I don't know how it is for the rest of Schmoeville, but I found Inner Geekdom, just maybe for my age, being 27, maybe a little bit younger, being obsessed with Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and stuff like that. Just a general sense of fandom, I felt that Inner Geekdom was the most easily accessible. I enjoyed watching the singles and teams matches because, like Matt, I love movies in general. Star Wars, I would watch a match here and there when there was a player that really interested me. When you got like a Sam Witwer on there, or
totally, yeah,
they had Freddie Prinze on there, that was super cool. And obviously, a couple of matches this year. But you sit there and you go start to finish, and you're like, I think I would have had 2 points.
Yeah.
It's rough. So I forgot what the initial question was.
No, but with Inner Geekdom, right? Like you were saying how you were. That's the one you gravitated towards the most because you could. Because that obviously, like for us, like we like Marvel, DC, Back to the Future, Indiana Jones. Like we like all that stuff, and of course, the division that primarily focuses on that, we're going to gravitate towards. Because I was the same way. I'm like, oh, we're out here talking about are you talking about Calvin Klein and Back to the Future, or like we're out here talking about the Green Hornet, which is 1,000% Inner Geekdom, and no one should tell you otherwise. Like,
so is the Phantom, so is Rocketeer.
Is that Ohana or Brandon Hanna that challenged that?
Yes, the Green Hornet's geekiness.
Yeah, and my first thought was if you're throwing Indiana Jones and Back to the Future on there, I think you can just relax. And like Rocketeer's on there and stuff, chill. Mm-hmm. I know it was a rough loss. I didn't know the answer to that question either. So like I feel for him, but I wouldn't have challenged it.
Yeah, the Green Hornet. I mean, the Green Hornet was on the radio with Batman. Like, so it's like we need to, like, let's as my boy drinks out of the Batman mug. Like that's how that's what I'm saying. Like geeks. I
was debating coming here full Schmetz. I got my Batman hoodie and just, but I gotta, I gotta play. I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but I feel like I'm playing for Schmetz because I felt like he was one of the faces of Inner Geekdom and one of the most entertaining aspects that we had in there. And I would hate if we're leaving that all up to Chandra, you know?
Oh, wow.
I would say Smets was a tweener because he never really had a defined side. Because you could say at times he had more heel tendencies, especially.
That's how he came in.
Yeah, and then he was kind of in the middle after a little bit, and then
after he won the belt, he was.
I think the perfect comparison is that calling him the Smasher. He's the Hulk of the division. It just depends on the given day what side he's going to land on. And I can't wait to see him come back into the tournament. Go
ahead. Please.
I was going to say, I'm also really interested to hear more about Harloff addressed, I believe is on Backstage, petty challenges. And now they're going to have a little bit of a different
Backstage. I didn't get to this week. I just saw you talking about this in the Facebook group.
Yeah, and I think I might have misspoke a little bit when quoting on it because obviously I've been absorbing so much content right now. But just that they're going to be looking at it and reviewing it differently, and they're going to have specific rules in the 2021 rule book, which I'm very excited to take a look at, that would have canceled out some of the challenges that we had this year. Some of the Chandra challenges. I mean, I guess Hannah's got turned away anyways. But I'm curious to see how that takes effect this year.
I think here I will say this: as much as I want to call Chandra's challenges petty at times, a lot of them he's got valid arguments for. It's not like he never has a valid argument.
Well, Chandra will take every opportunity that man gets, and you throw enough darts at the wall, some are going to stick. But one of the ones that I think Christian was saying that the surrogates one wouldn't have held, but I don't know. And I heard that people talking about, with the benefit of the doubt, you get into some sticky situations. So I think we're looking at possibly a very heated division this year with some of those elements in the rulebook.
In regards to challenges, it's more so using them just because, like Bateman did in that Shazam Who's the Boss match. Chandru, like in that match that you're in the challenge you're probably speaking of, where he's like, "Well, before y'all ruled it like this,
right? Yeah," and he's like, that doesn't matter. It
won't matter. Yeah, it will not matter anymore. Yes, 1,000%.
And I think in something like IG that could stand. And if that was I understand why Christian's going to say no. Smash would have gotten the points. If that was singles though, and see, here's the thing: are we going to end up having to rule things in different based off of the division you're in? Because if you're in singles and you're asking that film, surrogates, they've said for the past 3 years, if it has the in the title or it doesn't have the in the title, it's important, especially if there's a movie with a similar title with it. So
then you got Idris Elba, and
he addressed
Greg Alba always brings that up.
Yeah, he addressed this on Chill to Action this past Sunday. Yes. Sunday, yes. Where if it's crucial, then you have to include it. If it's not, then who cares? Right? Like it's not going to be. Well, I'm paraphrasing, of course. It's not exactly how he said it. Yeah. But if it's, I don't know, if it's like, the movie's called The Chris Anthony Lopez, then you gotta put the or the in front of it. If there's another movie similar to the title, you have to include it. But if there's not, if there's only one movie that's similarly called The Chris Anthony Lopez, then you can include it, not include it. It won't matter.
That's why the Chandra thing still should have gone the way it was called, because the answer was the surrogates, or it was surrogate.
Sorry, I can get off on a tangent really quick and lead you guys astray when it comes to just speaking inner geekdom, because that's what I'm passionate about, and especially Chandru, because as I mentioned on Call to Action, watching his matches fuels my hate fire, and I just get really antsy about getting an inner geekdom. And it's like, I know that there's going to be so many steps between here and there, but all I can think about is just running on top of everybody to just knock that belt off his waist. And
where's that come from? Where's that disdain for Chandru come from? You're already throwing some shots. You've been throwing some shots at the man.
So I rooted for Chandru so hard at the beginning of the division. I really liked him. I liked his moxie. I liked how he came in, and his wealth of knowledge impressed me. I remember listening to several of the matches going, wow. But I mean, it could be a planned heel turn, but the ego got to him. The ego got to him real bad. And what is it Goblin says in Spider-Man? They love nothing more than to watch their heroes fail, fall, die trying. And they say, or he goes by Chandru the Chosen. They also called Anakin Skywalker the Chosen. And what happened? He ended up about 4 less limbs and on fire. So I'm just saying, Chandru, be careful.
In Cleveland, called LeBron the Chosen One. He left us high and dry from Miami, but he did come back.
So I'm just saying, be careful with your prophecies and putting all your eggs in one basket.
Word. And I mean, we talked about Chandru earlier on the show. We were discussing the awards that are this Friday. And Chandru, I'm totally in the camp where I believe he came into the league as a face. He wanted to be a face. He wanted to be liked, because who doesn't? Who doesn't want to be liked by the fans? But because of his attitude, and like you said, his ego, or maybe something about him, how he carries himself, fans are like, yo, we don't like that. And he tried so hard to get the fans back, where he had to almost become a heel by circumstance, where it wasn't because of a choice.
I respect the hell out of his game. I am not saying that Chandru doesn't know things, that he didn't earn that belt. I think he did. But I also think he had his time in the sun. And with most years, it's time for somebody else and some fresh blood to come in the tournament. and take it away.
Is there anyone else in the Intergeekdom division that you're like, yeah, I got them. Like I could best them on my good day. On a good day.
I got a few different thoughts. I think in my audition, I don't know if you guys saw it because I ended up putting it in Facebook.
I did watch it. Watch it.
Thank you so much. I did call out Mike Kalinowski, but that comes from a point of I'd say kind of fanship. I love Mike Kalinowski. I think he's awesome. I used to watch him at DC Movie Talk all the time. And I think some of the best friends in this league like to throw each other the most crap, And I would love to go against Mike Kalinowski. I think that would be a solid match. I'm not saying that's a runaway match. I think I have a really good shot at coming on top of that match. But
like right now, like if he were to pop into the streamer hypothetically, and he's like, let's play.
It's the Batman versus Spider-Man argument. No prep, right? So I'm saying no prep. Either side. No prep. Yes, I say that's an even challenge. I'm ready for that.
I love that you said it's the Batman Spider-Man thing. No prep. They just
that's the argument, isn't it? Or like Iron Man versus Batman stuff. It's always the thing you always gotta say with Batman is prep or no prep. Two different
exactly. 1,000%. Yeah. Because Batman with prep time could be anybody.
If you put a faction behind Mike, you give him 2 weeks. You have me coming out of the blue. I'm not putting money on me. But I think that's not what the Schmoedown is. You have a faction. You have a team supporting you. And they take your weaknesses and they polish them and make them strengths to the point where, let's say you start out Star Trek not being your strength. Maybe you get Star Trek on the wheel in a match and you stick with it because you've been studying it harder than the things you already know. So Mike Kalinowski is a big one. And then I'm a huge Real Rejects fan. So either John or Greg. I hope they're not watching right now because I'm going to say that's what I want to polish up on. And that's what I want to get ready for the real competition.
Wow.
I think they have a great wealth of knowledge. I really do, but I have watched their matches and
they impressed in the Intergeekdom tournament.
They did. Both of them. I watched their shows and the reactions, obviously. And when I saw them in Intergeekdom, I think they both know more than I originally assumed. But like I said, when I'm keeping along and I got my notepads and I'm keeping track of the score, I think that's where I want to start. And the league's only going to get harder, so we're not going to get any easy challengers coming into the tournament anytime soon.
Well, Justin, we actually have a question from you from our fan Leo Logan. What faction do you want to play for?
I mean, anything goes. I've had I'll say I have.
You have a favorite. You have a favorite.
I know you've had conversations. You've told me, but I haven't asked for specifics.
No, that's fine. I have I can barely say this, but like a light experience in some acting with like some school drama and stuff like that. Yeah. And I gotta say, in those situations, playing the villain or just being nasty bad is some of the most fun that you can have. Because you just get to let loose whatever you just get to over exaggerate maybe attributes that you already have. And I think any opportunity I would have to play heel would be a lot of fun. And obviously there's plenty of opportunities for that in factions, whether it be with the exchange or corruption's a big one.
The dungeon.
Or dungeon, yeah. And I was having a conversation with one of the other podcasts here on Twitter. And we were talking about, where I would like to land. I was like, what's great about corruption is my favorite video game is Mortal Kombat. Combat with a K. So why don't I go after corruption with a K, right? I just think that seems the most appropriate. And I had a fun little interaction with Shannon on Facebook after my video post today. So that would be cool. Roxy, obviously, also coming from DC Movie Talk. Been a big fan for a long time. And everyone's talking about, sweeps, Stryer, stars. Just all runs together, right? It's real nice. And I was like, I can't argue with alliteration. I think that sounds fantastic. And I think I would love to work with Kaiser. There's really and Koi, Marvel movie news. Like obviously, I've been following all these channels in the circle of people for so long, and I think my biggest chance to have a really great time might be with Koi and the Quirky Mercs. I will say if I joined that team, I might help Koi or try to help Koi put a fire under more people's asses because I think that team has outrageous potential. but I think it could use some work on the study side of things, and I would love to be a part of that. I'd love to be responsible for helping grow a faction, not just helping them win, but being a element in that.
Yeah. Well, I know you've had interactions with some of these other rookies, and you may have called out a few along the way. But even among those call-outs, are there people I know you've told me David Campbell, so is there anyone else you'd like to see even just end up on a faction with? I know you called out the Rager, but you were telling me earlier, it's like it's just. It seems like you have a respect for him.
I do. And anybody that's going to show up on, your guys' channel and some of the other channels out here, mad respect for it, because not everyone can get in front of a mic or a camera and not feel a certain kind of way. And I love the energy that the Rager brings. David is just the most honest, humble. He tries to have a couple tough sentences in there, and they always crack me up because I almost don't mind. I believe he has skills and talents, but it's cute. I would love to work with any of them, really. And then Beth May, the way that she put her audition was just so casual and disarming, and I think that she could really, without trying super hard, get in the heads with some of the other competitors, and I think that'd be a lot of fun to see, because I don't think we're going to see her break a sweat. Win or lose in a match, I think she's just going to stone face the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you have to forgive me. There's been a lot of names that are all new names to me. Maybe you guys know Jacob with Justin, the Juice. Those two guys. I can't remember his last name. Was it?
Jacob W?
Maybe.
Or is it Jacob London?
That one. I think it's the second
London.
one.
We have him coming on next week, right, Chris?
Next week, yes.
Awesome. Yeah. Me and him have had some fun interactions going back and forth, and the smack talk is just going off right now, and I think you might be able to look forward to seeing some promos cut from both of us. I think we've both set our targets on each other a little bit, so we'll see how that goes. But really, it would be an honor. I would love to have, wherever I land up, a rookie heavy team.
Oh, okay. You'd rather start from the bottom, because obviously the three players at the top
with these,
because 3 players at the top are going to be established, and they're going to be players that will essentially set the standard for all these factions going forward. So when we find out next Friday during the free agency special who locks down who for the top 3 or top 24 spots in the factions, the rest of that is going to be totally just draft, and whoever doesn't get picked is going to fall into the draft, and then we're going to see people like yourself, newer fresh faces stacked up against them, and then we're going to see how it goes from there.
I will say, out of a bigger name that's on the draft that has not yet been in the Schmoedown, I would love to be on a team with Flickinger. John Flickinger,
Right.
I love his channel. I've been watching him and Chris Stuckman do Hilariosity reviews together and stuff, and it would be really nice to have another Bat fan, and I could just imagine all the Bat-centric promos that we could cut together and how much fun that would be. But yeah, so it's just, I'm ready to either team up with pretty much anyone or absolutely tear them apart. I could go either way.
I love that. And I don't want to keep you much longer because I know you said you only had a certain frame window, and we're getting close to that. But
I got another 5-10. But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate the consideration.
No problem.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for coming on. I know it was a mutual reaching out to, and I appreciate that, because and just the fact that you stayed here listening to Tom, stayed in the backstage listening to Thomas, dude, I'm hard pressed to say I'm not rooting for all these rookies. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for Thomas. I'm rooting for Zach.
The bias is real. It's been from the real. I'm telling y'all.
It's just because when you're getting to know all you guys and talk to you and see how much you care about what you're doing, that's what sells me.
It's almost like I'm a manager taking notes. It's Jesse Cliff.
It's there's talent there that we've known and loved for a few seasons, but it's also talent that doesn't get out there as much. So why not give these people who are willing to put their schedules out there and take these chances that some people may not, and give the league fresh faces. So I'm rooting for all you guys.
Thank you. And Matt, one thing I would like to say. Oh, another guest appearance. Get out of here. All right. Well, he's back there. one thing I want to say on that notion is that I think I encourage some of the rookies, if they're not doing it already. I'm seeing a lot of people that I believe, just looking at their tapes and various medias online, that they have the knowledge. But as you guys that have been fans of the Schmoedown for a long time know, that knowledge is maybe 60% of the battle. And a lot of it is how you can get in your opponent's heads, how you can, gain fan support, and how big of a personality you can be. So I'm trying myself. Like I think my audition was pretty tame. And I started taking notice to the name drops that we were hearing on SEN and all the backstage and stuff like that. And I was like,
Clearly.
okay, tame doesn't get you shit. So let's go after some people. And got Harloff's attention. And next thing I saw pretty much every faction head tagged in that post. So great. I'm looking forward to doing a lot of character work and just wiping the floor with the whole Inner Geekdom League, hopefully.
Hell yeah. And before we let you go, one last question. Do you have a favorite match that you've seen, whether Inner Geekdom or not? Do you have one that sticks out to you?
Favorite match?
Ever.
That's so hard. I think I would be hard-pressed to remember the exact lineups, but I think it'd be one of those like 4 or 5-way Inner Geekdom matches from like a couple of years.
The Collider,
Collider.
like OG Inner Geekdom, 5 ways.
I feel like those get me yelling.
Scores reset.
I always yell the most when I'm watching those. And I recently just introduced my fiance to the Inner Geekdom and to the Schmoedown. And we're watching those, and it's so fun because there would be ones that she knows, and she's not necessarily into everything as much as I am, but she has her strengths like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. And she would know something, and it would be like across the board, like just Rachel Cushing would get it, right? Yeah. And we're both like idiots. And so those are a lot of fun because like everything else I'm taking notes, but I feel like I could just have a really good time watching all those different skill levels. And you remember that one that had, I think it was like Jared from The Bachelor on it?
Yep.
Yeah, Jared Habon, dude.
Jared, Brandon Hanna.
He was like running away with the competition. What was that? He was doing really good in that match.
Jared Habon, I mean, I wish we got to see more of him in Inner Geekdom, and I hope he does come back. I know we saw him at the Bachelor match last year. But it's like, we should... Come on, Jared. Come back. Come back to Inner Geekdom.
I only knew him from The Bachelor, and, like, speaking of playing characters and stuff and kind of doing exaggerated attributes. Bachelor's a lot of that. Like, if you don't think it's scripted more so or on par with wrestling, then I think you're nuts.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I really thought he was a dim bulb. I was like, dim or not, he knows his geek stuff. I was very impressed. That was one of the ones I had the most fun going back and watching.
Word. Are you a wrestling guy?
So I would say I had a phase. I don't want to say phase because it's not like, oh, that was so 10 years ago. But I would say like when I was in middle school, early junior high, I had like 5 console wrestling games, and I used to watch SmackDown all the time. I did not have a lot of channels, so SmackDown's what I got. Didn't watch a lot of Raw, so I would say I stopped seeing a lot of new stuff sometime around the time that Eddie Guerrero passed.
Okay. Word.
So it's been a while, but I mean the classic. You can throw some Stone Cold Steve Austin references at me, or The Rock, and you want to know who one of my favorite wrestler was back when as a kid?
Hit me with it.
Scotty Too Hottie. Because every time, like whenever we play I would always lose when we were playing. I can't even remember.
You're playing with Scotty Too Hottie. That's why.
I could never get the move successfully, but every time I would do the worm, I was just like so hyped, like do it, and I always got my ass beat. But yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I think on the note of Scotty Too Hottie, Jesse, thank you so much for coming on. It's been from the real. Best of luck to you. Is there anything you like to promote? Any social medias? Anything you got going on? Tell the people what's up.
And I'm going to butcher this a lot less than I did on my last appearance because I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing you do at the end. So you guys can find me recently on Twitter. Just got on there, and that is at. What's that?
Followed you earlier.
Thank you. So it's Twitter at Jesse Swift. And then you can also find me on Instagram at Nifty, spelled like it sounds, and then underscore Swifty93. And then you can also find my little startup podcast at flick hyphen the letter N hyphen real. And that's real spelled just like you guys, REEL. Flick and Reel Fancast. All right, guys, thank you so much for having me on. I had an awesome time.
To have you on just for one of the normal shows because I love your enthusiasm.
Yeah, brother.
I would love the opportunity to. I'm sure that there's a million different ways that we could speak geek and make something out of it.
We'll chat, brother. Thank you.
All right.
Good night,
take it easy.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right.
Holy hell, what a day.
Chris, I think we might have to make a separate video for this.
Nope. We're finishing them up right now. Let's go. I've been standing for 3 hours. I think we'll be okay. Like, let's do this. We're gonna finish them up right now. Separate video. The awards are Friday.
And
We're not gonna do it tomorrow. I already know.
These are the big ones too.
Like we can't just not do them.
We got. All right, match of the year.
Oh, we're doing that now. We should end with match of the year. Let's end with match of the year.
I know we're gonna have too much debate on some of the others.
Son of a bitch. Okay, let's do it.
Merle Collins, Merle Bateman 1, Odd Couple Final Exam, Demolanza Scrimshaw, Demolanza Cabrera, Corruption vs. Founding Fathers, Merle vs. Bibb vs. the Kid, Merle v. Bateman 2, Odd Couple v. Shazam, Smith Jericho. This one I know will Collins.
You cut out at some point. What'd you say?
I said this one I know we'll agree on. It's Merle v. Collins.
Oh yeah. The main event spectacular by far.
That's why I started with this because I knew it wasn't going to be a debate.
The one thing I do want to mention is both Bateman Merle matches were stellar this year.
Those were tied for my 2.
Did you prefer the first one or the second one?
They were basically the same match.
Well, one was at the live event, which to me adds to the match.
I look at the trivia side. I could care less if one was in person. I look at the sport, not the surroundings involved.
I mean, the second one to me better, especially with that. See Leo Logan in the chat. Leo Logan, by the way, thanks for chilling with us for the last few hours, Leo. That match in Atlanta, that match rules. I have to say, Merle Collins though. Not only what is it the goats versus the upstart, but they went to sudden death, and and it main event is spectacular. So just everything around it, and on top of the match play being freaking phenomenal, I have to say Merle Collins. But there were some great matches this year, and Smith Jericho honorable mention. That one's up there for me too. Not the most competitive match ever, but it's entertaining as hell. Entertaining as hell to watch that thing. 1,000%. All right. Let's do it.
Moving on. To Player of the Year.
Overall?
Oh, no. We're going to skip. We got a couple more we can do.
It's like, wait a second.
Because then there's a singles players team, Star Wars player, Intergeekdom.
Sure.
They're here. Comeback Player of the Year.
Ace. You don't have to say it's Ace.
Yeah, for me it's Ace.
It's like you don't even have to it should. I know there are some people that they had some stellar who. Okay, go ahead and read the noms for me if you stop them
Kate Swan, Liz, Jeff Snyder, Perry Nemiroff. Jeff has a strong case because of winning the title.
Is Snyder? Oh god, that's comeback though.
Yes, that is a comeback.
I think Ace
Snyder had a down year last year. Snyder had a down year.
Son of a biscuit. I'm picking Ace still.
Yeah, and I agreed. Because Ace was out of nowhere. Perry, I feel Perry and Ace have the strongest in terms of what a comeback means. Have the strongest argument. Yeah. But Snyder, if you want to base it off of play, on top of where he ended up and from where he came last year, yes. But Ace and Perry have both been out of the league for a year or more, so they have the two strongest arguments for me.
Liz, Liz was great this year, and the few matches that we got to see her. Lana Harris was great this year. Oh god, even To me, it's between Snyder and Cabrera, and it's going to be one of them that takes it on Friday. Yeah. My vote went to Cabrera. I will say that in confidence. My vote went to Cabrera.
Mine did as well. All right. Rookie of the year.
Oh.
We agree on this.
It's Adam Collins. Yes. Wash. It should be a landslide. Like, no, that's a landslide. I would love someone to either DM me, tweet the show's page, and tell me why Adam Collins isn't Rookie of the Year. I would love to have that conversation. I promise you it will not end up like Matt and I's conversation earlier about Faction of the Year. I promise it won't end up that way. I'm just genuinely curious of someone telling me that Adam Collins isn't Rookie of the Year. What happened?
It's probably going to end that way. Let's be honest.
It depends on how they approach it. If they disrespect Adam Collins, then I'm going to come at them like a ball of fire. Like, but if someone...
Come at him like a spider monkey.
Yeah, like...
Bobby, come on, bro.
No, but I was thinking of the Twilight thing. Hold on, Spider Monkey. But let's... No, it's Adam Collins. Wash. No brainer.
Now, this is one I know, because we have this one, and then we have all the player of the years to go over. So I'm just getting this one out of the way. Manager of the year. Shannon Barty, Winston Marshall, Roxy Strider, Tom Dagnito, Coy John. We've had part of this debate earlier. To me, it's Winston. And I go like this based off of what I've heard from people behind the scenes, what I've heard from other after shows. It's Corruption's management style is the team comes together. Winston is the manager who will stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning helping you get prepped for your match. And I know you've gone back and forth because you see both sides of the argument. So I know there's not going to be as much of an argument here, but still probably going to be somewhat of an argument.
I'm not going to be hot like how I was earlier. Like, you better hold on tight, Spider Monkey. Thank you. Thanks, Taylor. My boy popped in the chat. No, seriously. Like how we were talking about Faction of the Year earlier, I wasn't. Why I got so amped up and so animated wasn't because you chose Winston and Swag. I truly believe Swag had an incredible year, a stellar year. I just think they placed they were just behind Corruption to me. And with Winston and Shannon, I think it's in this category in the 2-horse race. Loved like a lot of love to Coy and to Roxy though. They both had incredible years in their own right. Tom had an off year, and the Finstock Exchange as a whole had an off year.
We've talked. I don't think they had an off year. I think the Infaction
they were disappointing, and the Infaction fighting was definitely the shot in the foot.
Well, here I don't think the Infaction fighting would have been as much of an issue if we had this next season's upcoming points system.
That and I mean, Bateman still would have played Dan twice. You know what I mean?
Yes, but the points, it wouldn't look as much of a disappointing year because the points would have made up for it.
Sure. I think with the shout out to I forget his name from LGR. I said on the show last week, but I forget. One of the producers at LGR did the points. They adjusted the points from this past season with the new rules. Finstock Exchange would place second. So yes, like that's 1,000% the case. But to me, even after the draft, they had a kick-ass draft. This was their season to lose. But it's between Shannon and Winston, and it really is just how you look at it. It's honestly how you look at manager. And if the fans are going to vote on this award, my thought remains the same from earlier. I believe Shannon should win this, but Winston probably will.
I've heard the exact opposite. Everyone I see on the Facebook page is Shannon. I have had conversations.
I want to be wrong. I of course want the award to go to Shannon. I want Shannon to win everything.
Everybody I've seen on the Facebook page has said I voted for Shannon. The majority of what I've seen is I voted for Shannon.
And I mean, if that's the case, then great. Then I'll wear my Corruption. I'll wave my flag high.
To Winston. And he and I have talked. He knows how I feel. and I know his sentiments, and I will keep those between us.
Sure.
But I am 100% on the Winston Marshall deserves to be manager of the year train.
I think Winston had an incredible year, and I've only gotten to talk to him the few times, but I think his impact in the Schmoedown was definitely felt. And there's a mutual respect, even though they talked a lot of shit between Winston and Shannon, because they both had incredible years with their respective players. I think Shannon should win this. But if Winston won, I will be just as happy because he had an incredible year and he deserves recognition too. It's a hard year to pick between two stellar managers, but it's a coin toss. Honestly, it's a coin toss.
All right, moving on. Star Wars Player of the Year. Ace, Alex, Laura Kelly, Demolanta, Molly Damon.
Ace.
It's Ace.
Ace. I mean,
Ace.
Alex played once in Star Wars this year.
Yes. Ace played 5 matches, went 4-1. That's a simple one.
Ace.
Inner Geekdom Player of the Year. Chandru, Chance, Mike Kalinowski, Brandon Hanna, who I don't think should be on this list, and Alex Damon.
Dare I say Chance Ellison?
I'm thinking it, but then I remember Chandru won the title and then retained it, and for that reason alone,
Played twice.
he played twice, but it's the scope of the matches.
Chance went into the Inner Geekdom tournament for shits and giggles.
I know,
and won it.
I get that.
It took change it to his 5-round questions.
Leo Logan's here's the
I get the Chandru. I think I voted for Chandru, but dare I say Chance now in hindsight?
I feel the same way. I wanted to vote Chance, but ultimately beating Kevin Metz and then retaining your title without any issue, it's a no-brainer.
It's gonna be Chandru, but I think Chance deserves a lot of recognition for what he did in Inner Geekdom this year, and I hope they give it to him, and I hope he knows, honestly.
All right. Team. Odd Couple, Shazam, Final Exam, Corruption, Founding Fathers.
Hell on earth.
I'm gonna. I know for a fact I voted for Final Exam.
What?
No, I'm kidding. I just wanted to.
What? I was about to vote for. I
voted for Shazam.
Whoa! Wow.
I think part of it was me still feeling like they got fucked over in round 5 of the defense match.
Oh yeah, I mean, we you were one salty boy after those questions.
You were even upset by those questions.
I wasn't bothered, but you were like, "What is this?" Like I was definitely like, "Yo, those are hard," but this. But
the reason why is because of, like I said, I compared the two. Leo Logan says Odd Couple, and I understand that. I can totally get that. Shazam played 3 matches this year? 1 number 1 contenders match, 2 title matches, 2 and 1.
What they played? The Pride, Who's the Boss, Corruption, and Odd Couple.
So 4. They played 4. They went 3 and 1.
Yeah, and they played great. Shit, they single-handedly destroyed Who's the Boss.
They dismantled Who's the Boss.
Like legitimately, they're not a team anymore because of that match.
they handled Corruption almost no sweat.
Yeah. Corruption put up a bigger fight than what's it called? It did than Who's the Boss did.
Yeah.
But I like the Shazam. I get your POV. I'm rocking with Odd Couple.
Yeah, I totally get the Odd Couple thing. It's just one of those things where I'm like, it can go either way. I get it.
I like the Odd Couple. Yeah, I like Odd Couple. Yeah, Odd Couple. I like the Shazam one though. If they win, all right. I'm not gonna be mad at that.
Right. Singles Player of the Year.
Son of a bitch. Here we go. Here we go.
Dan Merle.
Oh my god! He didn't even. Oh.
Chris.
Matt.
Hold on. He played 5 matches total in singles.
Yeah.
4-1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He defended the title twice.
Yeah.
Let us not. Some people may not consider this an upset, but that first match against Bateman was an upset. Because that's when people remember that was Bateman's first defense.
It was,
and everybody was rocking with Ben Bateman going into that. Most people were rocking with Ben Bateman going into that match, so it counts as an upset in my eyes.
It was a great moment when Dan. Oh, no, I'm thinking of something else. Never mind. I take that back. Okay.
So I'm basing it off of the record and what the wins were. A number 1 contenders match, a titles match, a titles match, a titles match, and then a loss in a titles match. I can't say just because Adam Collins won a tournament, and this isn't me besmirching him. He won a tournament. Yes, great job. He beat Dan.
You said great job. That's it.
Let me finish. You didn't let me finish. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
He beat Dan Merle. Great. But the pressure of if he had lost in the tournament, it wouldn't be that as big of a deal. Dan Merle played 5 high-stakes matches. Collins' matches weren't as high stakes until closer to the end of it.
Okay. So, Merle, let's talk about Merle for a second. Bateman, Irwin,
Kid and Bibbs.
At the beginning of the year, Kid, Bibbs, and Collins. Okay. Collins, it was Gallegos, Roca, Harris, Kidd, Miller, Snyder, Merle. Fuck me. Oh man. Look, okay. So it's no secret, fans of the channel, I've been championing Adam Collins as host since my man beat Roca. Like, I jumped on the bandwagon, I hitched my cart to the Coyote, and he's been hauling ass ever since. Adam Collins, to me, he showed up and showed out in a way that outshined people that did it before. Whether it's Mark Kanopik and Inner Geekdom, Ethan Irwin, Paul Oyama. Like, he's outdone some people who have done similar things to him. Dan Merle, I mean, he's had all his singles matches this year were stellar in some way, shape, or form, and they were great performances. And at the same time, like, we expected that from Dan because he's the best. And on the other hand, like with Collins, even after Collins beat Roca, did people have him winning the tournament like that? I don't want to rehash that. Like, I don't remember
people started to take him more seriously.
So, as they should, and that's exactly. Yeah.
After he beat Roca, they said, okay, he's more serious. If he beats this next person, which was the Kid, if I remember correctly. Let me see if we.
I want to say it was Harris, because he KO'd Harris, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was Harris. That's after he beat Harris is when people jumped on he can win the whole damn thing.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So after 3 matches, people were sold. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't, but the majority of people were.
And let me look at the match quality, right? So he beat Roca, he stomped Harris. He went to sudden death with the Kid, a slept-on match of this past year.
Yes.
And
then he had Shannon Miller. And then
he had a great match with Shannon Miller, and then he had a great match with Snyder, and then obviously the match of the year with Merle at the end. And Dan Merle, Had a good match against Bibbs and the Kid. Bested them both. Beat Damon, or both Bateman matches were great in their own way. Ethan Irwin's. Ethan's was like that. It was another good match, but it didn't stack up to the ones prior. And then obviously the classic that he had with Collins at the end of the year. This is so damn hard because part of me wants to I want to go with Collins, but like the argument for Merle is so damn good. It's a conflict of interest.
After I explained it, you can see why.
I get it, but it's the conflict of interest. Collins had the free for all. I'm picking Collins. Yeah, I
can understand that, but my argument would also be that Dan was the majority of the Finstock Exchange's points.
Dan carried.
Yeah. Where it was like an equal amount of Dan, Mike, and actually Adam, Mike, and Chance.
Sure. And who knows what the points number would have looked like if Collins played the whole season, which we will never know.
But here is what I will say. I'm giving Dan Merle Singles Player of the Year because I'm giving Adam Collins overall Player of the Year.
Wow.
And that's like on paper, the founding fathers shit the bed. We had that breakup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Depending on who you ask, that partnership was disappointing.
Yeah. Deception, whichever you want to call them. I'm just going to stick with disruption.
Disruption, yeah.
They played well in their two matches. Adam Collins won the free for all. That's if I'm looking at just singles and what the stakes were for each of those matches, I have to go Dan. Now, when I'm looking at what Adam Collins did through the free-for-all, through teams, through the singles tournament, and then the eventual spectacular match, I have Adam Collins.
And this is where I have to, and I love everything you just said because you gave my boy the love I've been waiting for months to come out of your mouth. But I disagree with you. Dude, it's crazy that I got what I wanted. Matt Thomas admitted to Adam Collins being the best player of 2020.
I never said it wasn't.
And I had to disagree because singles player of the year is Adam Collins. I cannot pick Adam Collins. Overall player of the year was Jeff Snyder.
And see, you agree with Leo Logan.
Yeah, it's like...
I get that because he killed it in the singles tournament, he killed it in teams, and then he won the team title.
Like, as much as I love Collins, I would love to see the universe and the timeline where Snyder played 2 title matches at Spectacular. One for singles and one for teams. We will never know. We won't know. Well, we will get that Dan Snyder matchup in season 8, but oh my God, Snyder had a career year in the Schmoedown in the most unorthodox way possible over this virtual stuff. It should go to Snyder, honestly. Like he ran through that right side of the singles bracket that no one. I would love to see someone's bracket and they had Snyder at the end. I would love to see that. We didn't. We had him losing to Oyama. And we saw how that panned out. Snyder kept surprising.
Snyder went on a revenge tour, and I get that.
And the team's tourney, granted the Yacht Couple were an established team. People had Yacht Couple winning for good reason. I mean, they did win the damn thing. They beat Category 9, they beat Deception, and they beat Final Exam, and inevitably beat Shazam. So Jeff Snyder had himself one hell of the last quarter of 2020. And I think that should be recognized, and I would like to think that Schmoedown fans are finally ready to give Snyder the credit and the respect that he's due. Because he still does get the shaft. He gets disrespected a lot, and people forget how good of a player he is, myself included, us both included. I mean, go back and watch us predict the tournaments, and that is all the evidence you need for that case. So, I think overall player of the year should be Jeff Snyder. Singles player of the year should be Adam Collins, and Dan Murrell. When he inevitably goes to the usual suspects, he will have himself one hell of a season.
You mean swag when he inevitably
or swag, or usual suspects with Ethan or Ben, or the dungeon with Ben, or wherever the hell Dan Murrow goes. But Dan Murrow will have himself one hell of a season 8, especially with how spectacular ended. But Jeff Snyder should be like Jeff Snyder, best player 2020 overall, and if there's a fifth spot on Rushmore, it's Snyder. Bam, drop the mic. That's Spin from the Real, baby.
Yeah, that's the episode. I'm drained, man. That was
4 hours. Let's go.
3:40 by the time we're done talking. So we've plugged ourselves enough throughout the show. Follow us on our socials. Subscribe to our YouTube, our fan league. Season 2 is getting ready to come up. Once again, I am Matt. He is Chris. And remember, folks, Spin from the Real, not the peg. Have a peace.
Bye.